For another episode of The Barbershop. Tonight, we have a special host in the building tonight. If you don't know who Ricky Williams is, you are out of your goddamn minds. I'm so happy to have Ricky in the building tonight to host this show tonight. It's about to go down like 4 flat tires in Alabama after a tornado tonight. You see the title, What is a Woman's Job? Ricky started this conversation, and we're about to connect to Ricky tonight as he leads us in this conversation. You know how Ricky is. You know what he is. You know what he's about. He's a family man. He's about to take us there tonight. So thank you guys for being here. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And right after our intro, you're going to see your boy up here, Ricky. He's going to be in the chat. He's going to bring everybody from the back. And his co-host tonight is the velvet voice of YouTube himself. Put your damn hands together for Lost in Translation. Yeah, we're going to do it tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right after this, we will be right in here to go right into our show. Appreciate y'all for being here.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the news that fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Yeah. There's no mercy in this world, just hunger-thirsty persons in different versions. Each new update, that shit worsens. Why? Pull back the curtain and you'll see the different vermin. We all have different burdens that all seem to cause disturbance. Yo, do me a favor, don't treat me like a neighbor. Don't need the different flavors of your problems just to savor. I've got my own issues, I need a comb to get through. Don't need to groan with you, just go get your own tissue.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Black Men Unfiltered, the Barbershop. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and give us a round of applause for our guest pastor this evening, the one and only Ricky. Ricky, go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
Happy Friday, everybody. Y'all made it through another one. It is time for Barbershop Talk. We're at Black Man's Unfiltered Network, the Black Man's Network. If you're at another channel watching this video, please do not hesitate to come to Black Man Unfiltered. Subscribe to the channel, support the content. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Fantastic. Ricky, let me ask you a question, man. Before we start bringing everybody up, I'm going to ask, how you doing today, brother? I'm going to make sure we get that. How you doing inside the way.
I am too blessed to be stressed with the rest, man. Every day above ground's a good day. I'm happy. The wife's good. The kids are good. Life is good, man. How you doing?
I am well. I could not wait to get started today. Black man sent me the topic. I was like, uh-oh. He said, you know what? We're going to have Ricky as the host. I was like, oh, I can't wait for this.
Yeah. I'm gonna chastise my brother though. He hit me last minute, so this off the fly, but we still gonna work with it.
You know how we do it, man. We get down. Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and get the how you doing out of the way before we bring the fellas up.
Thank you, sir.
First person we got in here is Embrace the Grace. Miss Grace, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Appreciate you. And of course, you know, we got the one and only Black Man Unfiltered. You know, he back there watching it in the clouds. You know what I'm saying? Then, of course, you know, we got Grooming and Reviews. Welcome, sir. And we also have Almond Eyes in the building. We got Milani in the house. I could have swore I saw. Did I see? Yes, I did. We got boxing matchups with D3 in the building. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And also, who else we have? We have BZ, formerly Baby Zaddy, in the building.
My
You know what
brother.
I'm saying? Also, we got Marriage, Politics, and Sports. That's Mr. R. Payne. We're going to bring him up in a minute.
Mr. Payne.
Yeah, Samuel Shaw in the building. Hold on, wait a minute. We got
My
guests
guy.
in here. Yes, sir. Who else? I could have swore I saw. I could have swore I saw. Hold on, wait a minute. We got Ed Hill in the building.
Man,
None other than
the Queen Mother. What's up, baby?
Yes, sir. We also got Katalia in the building. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am, on the Lost in Translation podcast side of the business. And we also have Mrs. He said in the building. Good evening, ma'am. Good evening. Tell the Mr. We said hello. Hey, sis.
Before we go past that, don't let it go. Hey,
if
y'all need any custom merch designed to your specific specifications to the letter, hit up Mrs. She said. She can handle any need you have. She is available here on YouTube. She is also available on Instagram. Mrs. She said. You can hit her in the DMs with any order, any idea you have. She'll make it happen for you. Great pricing, fast service. Make sure y'all check her out.
Yes, indeed. Always support your folks, man. Support your folks. Thank you so much for coming out, Mrs. She said. And we also have Smitty in the building, Smitty Corner in the building. We also have Randy in the building. Thank you for joining us. Man, we got a crowd tonight, man. Let's do it. Hold on. Who else we got? We got So Solid in the building as well. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, Rick, I'm going to go ahead and bring the gentleman.
Project available. That's a musician or rap. I shout out all my folks that support. So I apologize, y'all. Y'all say I'm hosting.
That's right.
Make sure y'all check out So Solid on all music media platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music. He just had a new project drop, West Coast. Y'all know what it is. Make sure y'all check out So Solid the Prophet.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We're going to go ahead and start bringing the fellas up. Y'all know him as the Continent. We also know him as the elder of the building. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the one and only R. Payne in the building.
Hello.
Yes, sir. R. Payne, welcome, sir. Also, we're going to bring up the number one stunner from Greece. We also know him as Grooming and Reviews. Put your hands together for him.
Man has a great head of hair. I swear.
Hey, don't be jealous over there.
That's it. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your hands together for the president of the 8B network. Put your hands together for the one and the only Mr. Paul Ben in the building. Mr. Ben.
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Good to be here. Good to be here. Shout out to the follically free. Salute to the bold and the beautiful, the beneficent, benevolent, ball bifocal brotherhood of the BNE network. Good to be with you, brothers, once again on a Friday night. Chop it up.
Yes, indeed.
What's going on, my Adelphos? What's going on, man?
That's good, brother.
Doing good. Let me go ahead and get the how you doings out of the way. Mr. Bennett, how you doing this week, sir?
I am doing well. Do another week. Good to be here.
Good. Grooming, how are you today, sir?
Great. I got some great news today, so I'm excited to actually share with you guys.
Well, good.
So,
when she do? No,
it's actually by my mom's cancer. Actually, they're taking her off chemo finally, slowly.
Praise God. Praise God.
What's up, man?
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Good work, bro. Good work.
Yeah, it's an emotional day, but a good day.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir. That was the best kind.
That's some good news, man. Some good news. Next, R. Payne, how are you today, sir?
All right, can't complain.
Water spider.
Good to see you. How's your family, man?
Huh?
How's your family, man?
Hey, family's doing all right, man. Everybody's just chilling, doing their thing, working.
R. Payne, you need a catering business, sir. You need the meal service prep. You should get those meals, those smoked that chicken you made earlier. Put the little meals out, send it across the country, man. I'm telling you, you got all this time on your hands. So
man, you got to fill the void when you retire. You got to find ways to fill that void, man.
That food looked delicious, though, man. So,
yeah, man. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Get some yams on the side. That's what's up, man.
I'll be coming down there.
Oh, I got some more stuff coming, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Wait. Hold on here. Is this the barbershop? Is this the barbershop? Yes, it is. It's the barbershop. I mean, we can't talk straight in the barbershop. Then where can we talk straight? We can't talk straight nowhere else. You know, this ain't nothing but healthy conversation. That's all. You gotta tell who the park down. It ain't nobody exempt in the barbershop. You know that. Ain't nobody exempt. You can talk about whoever and whatever, whenever you want to in the barbershop.
Y'all see the rules? Let's get started, Rick. It's
Yes,
on you, sir.
Gentlemen,
Yes, sir.
all of you men are a certain age and stature.
Yes,
You
sir.
guys were brought up under certain traditions that are kind of making their way out of society. Do you guys think that's a fair assessment?
That's fair. That's fair.
The last
Yeah,
of a dying breed, shall we say?
I would agree. I would agree.
I don't know. Well, I grew up in dysfunction, so I don't know about tradition.
Same thing.
I'm trying to get tradition back, actually, but
Same thing, right?
Right.
Is it fair to me to say, though, or to ask, that you guys received some type of instruction of what you should be doing when it comes to the fair sex? That's a question to everyone. Go as you see fit.
We're gonna start with grooming at the bottom.
That is a complicated question, I think.
Simplify
Because-
it. Simplify it.
That's the problem.
Did you receive any type of instruction as far as how to handle yourself when you're with a woman?
No.
None whatsoever. How about you,
No.
Mr. Bennett?
not probably until my, I would say my early to mid 20s, maybe a few years, 3-4 years before I actually got married. But no, a lot of the what I did get, I don't think it was necessarily helpful. My dad was an interesting character. He only told me a couple things that I won't get into here, but that's about it.
Okay, so to emphasize your point, you didn't agree with it, but you got it, right?
I definitely didn't agree with it. I got something. I wouldn't call it though.
Okay,
I just leave it there.
All right, gotcha. Mr. Payne, same question.
Yeah, listen now, there's 4 things in terms of learning. Some things, it's observation, test, analysis, or inspection. I only had observation. I didn't get anything else. Especially when it came to, courting, marrying, all that stuff. All I knew was that my elders, everybody was married. And, and they stayed married until they died. But nobody said, well, this is how you do it. This is how you're supposed to treat somebody, blah, blah, blah. I just said, when it was my turn, I want to make sure mine's work. And that was it. No kind of sit down conversation from my pops or any of the aunts I had around me or my grandmother, grandfather, nobody.
So no one ever told you anything about how to treat a girl?
No.
Or handle yourself when it comes to a woman? Nothing. Nobody.
Not one.
Nothing. Okay. Lit, what you think?
Man, my whole entire family sat me down, bro. I'm talking about from my dad to uncles to aunties, the whole 9 yards. You know what I mean? Pull out the chair for the lady. You know what I'm saying? When you court a lady, you know what I'm saying? These are certain things that you do. You meet the folks at the house. You talk to the dad. All of that good stuff, man. Pulling out the chairs and making sure that you hold the door open. Make sure she, on the inside of the curb and you on the outside, to protect it. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. When you get married, you had kids, family, what to expect, take care of your wife, all of that good stuff, man. So I would say yes.
Right. So was that not the case for you, gentlemen? No one ever told you guys to instructed you to hold the door for a lady, pull her seat out?
In my case, I wasn't told. I was expected to do it because my grandma raised me mostly. My mother was here working. My grandma raised me in Greece. So it was just natural to know about that. Nobody teaches you, just watch and see and learn.
Right. So you received instruction then, correct?
In a way, I guess. Oh, yeah. If you want to put it
exactly, because we learn by watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, with that being said, do you guys want to update your statements?
I will. So I'll say yes. I did have instructions then.
I hear you, Ricky, and you're right, though. I mean, observation could be a way of instruction, but it's indirect, right? I knew that to stand on the outside of the chick because I seen other dudes do it. Of course, I heard people say pull out the chair to be a gentleman and hold the door. So it's not like they said it to me directly, but it just seemed like something natural to do, right? So I hear what you're saying. So it is a form, like I said, observation is a form of instruction, whether it was direct or indirect. So I'll give you that.
Okay, gotcha. And I'm not trying to put you on your box. I'm going somewhere. Y'all just got to ride with me.
No, but you're right, though. You're right.
Question, fellas. Any of you guys know how to change brakes on a car?
I do.
Change brakes?
That's natural for me. I was always been a mechanical route.
How'd you learn?
Simple. My dad told me go learn from the mechanic.
But how did you learn?
Using my hands.
Right. You went and you watched the mechanic, right? You watched him do it first, then you did it, right?
Correct.
Right. So are we at? We got the baseline set, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
We all understand the baseline. I don't want to move past till we do. Okay. When did you have a firm grip? Because we got 1, 2, 3 married men up here, me included, right? 2 single guys, right? When did you as a, I ain't gonna even say a man, because a man is different than when we coming up, right? Like I'm a man now. I wasn't a man back then. I was finding my way, right? But when did you first understand your role as a man in a relationship? When was the exact moment? I know my exact moment. I was 35 years old, right? When was your exact moment when you understood your role as a man, in relation to your marriage or your girlfriend? Mr. Payne.
The hell you have to be first for? You know what? I tell you
might not be here much longer. I got to get you out.
That's Thank you. I got to tell you, I think I was, when I was actually, ready to get married. I think I had I guess an immature understanding of what I needed to do to find a wife, marry her, and what my obligation would be if she said yes. And I was around 26 years old.
Great. How about you, Mr. Bennett?
Maybe about 25. Yeah, it was around the time when I made the decision that I wanted to be married, and had an understanding of what had to go into being a husband. That's when I really kind of did a deep dive and I actually sought out information. So I would say around that time, 25, 26 is when I understood what my role would be as a husband in marriage.
Yeah, and it was pretty concrete, would you say?
Fairly. It was laid out pretty succinctly for me. Yeah.
Okay. Lit, what you think?
I was probably about 15, man. And it was kind of early because we were trying to figure out exactly what we wanted to do with our life coming out of high school. So at that point we were, getting set on, learning your skills or whatever. So to get ready to enter your next phase of your life. But, usually you want to have those conversations with your dad. But usually I was probably around about 15 because I wanted to understand exactly what I needed to do as I got older. So that's how we kind of prepared.
Gotcha. Grooming. When did you realize your space in the world as a man when it comes to women?
I would say my early 20s. I would say like 23, 24, 25, around those 3 years, because this is where I opened my business at the karate school. And I realized the world's not friendly at all. There is cutthroat. Everybody is. Everybody's trying to take everybody out to just make themselves better.
Okay. So in those lessons that you now understood as a man, as a husband, right? Because you want to be a husband at some point, or we are husbands, right? I'm pretty sure, I'm assuming, but I'm pretty sure lost in translation would like to be a husband someday.
Indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
What was what is your understanding of the woman's role in that? Your understanding. I don't want nobody else boilerplate. I would like your understanding of the woman's role in that. Grooming.
I don't know how to answer that question, to be honest with you, because nobody ever asked me that question. That's throwing me off, to be honest with you. I'll be very straight up.
No worries. Sit on it, Mr. Bennett.
One, to be my sexual partner. Second, to support my goals and ambitions. And third, to be the mother of my children and to help me raise them.
Good. Mr. Payne.
Yeah, my first one was to be the mother of my children. I think, well, that might have been second. The first one was being respectful and being obligated to me, and of course being loyal in terms of accessible, understanding that she's going to be my sexual partner, and of course being the mother of my children. But I think respect might have been the top door. All the stuff that they talk about today, like cooking and cleaning and all that kind of shit, that was something we were going to share no matter what. Because I like to cook myself, so I didn't need her to just do that.
Facts.
So it was merely respect. My wife, she had a unique ability to let me keep my ego in check. She understood, that even if she thought, she just knew how. She just knows, not even just knew. She knows how to keep, to edify her husband to get the best out of me. She knows how to do it.
Right. She knows how to manipulate you.
Yes.
Good. Lit, what you think?
I'm glad you had this conversation because shortly after my dad passed away, I had a conversation with my grandfather. And he asked me the exact same question. I think I was probably about 18, 19 years old. He sat down with me and my brothers. And he asked us, he said, what's the purpose of getting married? I said, it's because you're in love. He was like, that ain't it. He said, the purpose of getting married is to have somebody that had the tough times to go through with. You know what I'm saying? So anybody can be there, when it's good, but the tough times is where you need the assistance. So what my summation about that is to always have somebody to grow old with, you know what I'm saying? To take care of each other, that type of thing, to experience life together, to have a family, you know what I'm saying? To look at life in different ways and to grow. And to help the people in your community and in your household. So that's what he sat down and told us what it was.
Okay. Switching gears a little bit, right? Me personally, what I believe that marriage is for mainly 3 reasons, right? So we can fuck, right?
Yes.
Take care of these kids.
Yep.
Right. And get to the end of life. Those are my 3 reasons, right? What do you guys? I want to say this the right way because I don't want to mess this up. What were the lessons that you guys received in regards to women from the women in your lives, Mr. Payne?
Well, it's funny. I took a lot of nuggets from the women. I had a short sexual life with women, right? And I think one of the things I'm realizing in retrospect from being on these YouTube streets, I actually liked most of the girls that I had any intimate relations with, and I got nuggets out of all of them. But one of the things I remember the most was a sister I had nothing to do with. She was a little bit older than me, and I was just going through a breakup. And we were talking, and she had twins. She was a single mother, and this was way back when. And she said, well, you just had a breakup. You seem like you're a little down. She says, let me tell you something, and you need to take this with you for the rest of your life. The only power a woman has over you is the power between her legs. And if you lose yourself to that power, you're lost. And that was almost 50 years ago. I remember that shit like it was yesterday. So that was one of the biggest lessons I learned, that you always have to have your feet under you when you're dealing with a woman. And if you lose yourself in her sexuality, you're lost. And I never forgot that. I never have. That was one of the biggest lessons. It didn't come from a family member. It didn't come from anybody else. It came from a chick. I wish I could remember her name, but I can't. I thought that was a gem, and I haven't forgotten it.
So the gem that a woman gave you regarding women is to don't get pussy with.
That's right.
What you got, Groomin'? What you think? What's the lessons that a woman taught you regarding to women in your life? Lesson or lessons? Take your pick.
The most of the lessons I ever learned from my mother and my grandmother is you're the head of the house. I never realized that to my last relationship. Like when I had to make sure the bills are paid, make sure, the kids are going to school, make sure the dog is fed, walk the dogs, everything. That was all on me. And at first, I was a lot of responsibility. I didn't know how to handle it.
Mhm.
But over time, I learned to put myself in that position.
Mhm.
Yeah, I moved on to the bigger and better relationship now. But I'm still the head of the relationship. If I ask her, hey, do me a favor, I need you to do X, Y, Z. She goes, sure, not a problem. Not even push back or anything. Of course, it depends what it is. I'm not going to jump off a goddamn bridge, obviously. But if it's something reasonable, I'm talking about, hey, do me a favor, walk the dog, for example.
Mhm.
No pushback. If I ask her, hey, can you set the table because I'm cooking dinner? Again, no pushback. Depends what I'm asking. So she understands. Me and her had this conversation literally 2 days ago. She understands me as a man, I am the head of the house. Like, so as the head, it's my say is the final say.
Gotcha. Mr. Bennett, same question.
Kind of similar to what grooming said. Basically, and she didn't teach me this. I think I just had to learn it. I had to be the structure. My wife is very, you talk about A personality, she's a B personality.
Mm-hmm.
She is laid back about everything. Nothing really gets to her. She seldom gets angry. If a mistake happens, she just does. I mean, she is just happy-go-lucky. And I realized that that's not going to work in a marriage. We need structure. I need dates. I need discipline. So I got a lot more disciplined, understanding that if I don't, then this thing is not going to, we're going to be in chaos. Because as far as my wife is concerned, she never saw chaos. It's just like, oh, well, we make a mistake. We was like, no, we need hard set. And I guess the other thing that she taught me was like, I had to love her for who she was.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was not going to become if she a B personality, she was not going to become this regimented, disciplined person. And I struggled with that initially, but I had to learn to love her for who she was, not who I wanted her to be.
Right.
And so the patience that you develop through that, and now I'm seeing it now with my daughters, same thing. That I have to love them, not my image of them. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, I need to take care of whatever I need to take care of. The stuff that they don't see. I mean, our pain talks about it all the time. If the women only knew what we do to keep everything running, where you just get up and go and come as you please or whatnot, having no real hard idea of how that's done. Anything comes to business or whatever, my wife's like, look, he's got it. Talk to him, because she just don't want to deal with it.
She picks it out, right? She picks it out. You take care of the rest, right?
Yep, take care of it. So yeah. So those are things that I probably learned the most, but it wasn't because she was trying to teach me that. It was just, look, you just observed that and said, look, these things have to be done. So I had to be a lot more. I thought I was a disciplined person before I got married. I had to become twice as disciplined in order to make sure this thing kept on a good track.
That's because you understand the responsibility you have to your family, right? So what you think, Lit?
You know what? The two things that stuck out to me was one from my grandmother, which is my mother's mother, and my dad. My mother's mother told me, which is my grandmother, she said that don't be hanging out with them fast tail ass gals. You know what I'm saying? And then my dad told me, don't bring home no babies. And that's basically about it. You know what I'm saying? And I had to figure out the difference. But little did I know, my grandmama was preaching to me from Proverbs 31, saying that don't hang out with women that bring ruins to kings. You know what I'm saying? And my dad also told me, don't be out here, making kids and not being responsible for them. You know what I'm saying? If it's supposed to be somebody that you want to get married to, make sure you vet them first, man, and then get married and have kids. You know what I'm saying? So when you have kids, sometimes you got to, make stuff a little easier for them to understand and give them something to chew on later on in life. And it didn't come to life to me until I got older later on. I was like, nah, I see what they're talking about. They really didn't have a whole lot of time to deep dive into it because, of course, they busy doing other stuff But those are the two things that stuck out to me.
Gotcha. So to recap, people in your life, right? Male role models all gave y'all an instruction, even though y'all don't believe it to be taught to you, whether it was right or wrong, right?
Right.
You learn from them. The women in your lives, right? Just ask the question, what did you learn from them? Each one of y'all gave y'all some game on how you are to behave and maintain with the woman, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
When was the moment or lesson that you were taught when someone set you down as a young whippersnapper, a grasshopper, a young Padawan, and tell you what a woman's job was for you?
Oh, I would love to go first on this one.
Please do.
It was actually my mama. You know what I'm saying? I think I was probably like maybe 12 years old. She said, son, let me tell you something. I'm going to teach you how to cook. I'm going to teach you how to clean. I'm going to teach you how to do all this stuff. So you don't have to be held hostage to a woman saying do this and do that. So that kind of freed me up. But she said it might be a while for you. You know what I'm saying? Because I think she kind of knew I wasn't slow, you know, when it comes to women or whatever. But she wanted to make sure that I was well equipped and make sure that I can do the things for myself. So I wouldn't be out here asking women to do things for myself that they would normally do. But normally in essence, she was telling me, yes, it's cool to find a woman to do all these other things, but don't lean on that. You know what I'm saying? Else you won't be able to take care of yourself. So that was the lesson that I learned from my mom.
But I want you to listen to the question. Right? The question was, when did you get specific instructions of what a woman's job is to be with and for you?
Yeah, about 12. Yeah, from my mom. Yeah, she sat me down and she said, this is what a woman's supposed to do. You know what I mean? She's supposed to take care of you. She's supposed to, you know, make sure she raise your kids. You know what I'm saying? She's supposed to speak with you with reverence. You know what I mean? All of that good stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah. And make sure that she's not one of those women who's insecure, who looks for outside validation. Because, you know, she said that type of stuff will ruin a marriage. So yeah, it was my mom, man, when she sat down and talked to me about it. There was little nuances like that, but that was about it, you know?
Gotcha. Mr. Bennett.
Not in my younger years. No one. Absolutely. My mom didn't do that. Again, that was a strained situation, to say the least. I'm the youngest of 5, so my 3 older sisters, just seeing their dating and married lives and whatnot wasn't a great example either. But no one sat me down and told me what a wife is supposed to be. Like I said, I didn't get any of that instruction until I was almost in my mid-20s. Period.
Grooming. Anytime did this happen for you, or is this something you got to figure out on your own?
It was like an unspoken rule. We kind of knew about it, out talking about it, if that makes sense.
Arpain.
Not one word. With all the women, cousins, aunts, grandmother, and not one word. Nobody ever told me what I should expect from a woman in a relationship or marriage. Not one word.
Right. So how about let's flip the argument and so on its head, right? When have you ever seen, and I understand it's outliers, there's never anybody on this panel, we all special, you know what I'm saying? We all children of God, we all going to heaven. You know what I'm saying? Could you guys please name a time where y'all actually seen and heard a woman or someone instructing a woman on what her job is to her husband or her mate?
Let me go first real quick. I didn't hear that until I got onto these YouTube streets with some select women, and that's in the last 12 months. I never heard women say anything like that until I got on these YouTube streets to hear that. From a Crimson Cure or a few other women like that, Take Heed, those kind of things. Other than that, I never heard women say any shit like that. It's absent.
What's good, Trey?
What's good with y'all? Good evening, fellas.
Good to see you, brother.
What up, Trey?
Pop on, Trey. Pop on.
I'm sorry I missed the question. I was typing.
The question was, bro, is that, and again, it's always good to see you, my good brother. The question was, When was a time that you actually saw a woman sitting down and getting instructions on her job for her husband or her mate?
I've never seen it. Not in my family. I've never seen it. Yeah, I've never seen it. I maybe got instructions on what not to do. You know, don't get pregnant, don't do this, don't do that. Right? Don't trust the man. You know, go get your own. You know, be independent. Yada yada yada. But as far as this is what a man expects from you, this is what a man needs. This is how you respect a man. This is how you be loyal to a man. This is how you cater to a man. This is how you take care of a man. I got a bunch of great aunts and older cousins and all of that, female older cousins. I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
Mr. Bennett.
Again, I keep repeating myself, but it's, again, 24, 25 years old. I was a part of some organizations, some Christian-based organizations, and they had talked about, you know, in terms of business, in terms of, you know, how you conduct yourself both outside and inside the home, where you actually had women either from a stage or from a pulpit talk about the role of a wife. And then also it's interesting because I'm also in the IT field. So I also have a lot of associates with Asian Indians. And just literally being in that culture. In fact, one of my best friends today, he was actually a groomsman at my wedding. So he sort of brought me into that culture a bit. And I saw a lot of how a lot of those households worked and a little more of the dynamic, especially if you're in India. The idea is that the wife moved into the son's house, and the mother of the son would train the daughter on how to take care of the husband, because obviously the mom raised the son, so she knows him. She knows what he likes, what foods he likes. He knows, you know, what his temperament is. So I saw, at least it was shown to me. I didn't actually see it because I wasn't in that situation. Again, most of my friends were married, but it was explained to me that that's how that kind of culture worked. And certainly I've seen with the women, even if they're professionals, they could be IT, you know, programs developers just like the husband, but the home life was pretty conservative in terms of the wife being, she would still be the one to cook and, you know, rear the kids and that sort of thing. So it was kind of, both of those things were kind of going on at the same time. From, again, organizations that were teaching on manhood and Christianhood and how to have a good domestic life. And like I said, just observing some of my Indian friends, seeing how they moved. It was definitely very different from certainly my personal experience with my family and other things that I heard up to that point.
Gotcha. Now to stay on that, Mr. Bennett, for a second. So did that kind of raise your expectations, right, as far as understanding when it came to picking a mate at that point?
Oh, no question. In fact, it's what made me want to get married. Because, like I said, I grew up in a very dysfunctional environment. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom, she had mental illness. Very dysfunctional. Three of my sisters got married. 2 of them got divorced. And the one that was married, they had some rough years for a while. I think they kind of got it right later. But I saw, you know, up close a lot of that. So when I was in college, especially, I was like, I'm not getting married because there's no one person that I've seen in my life that has this thing right. And it's just, like I said, it's just the fun. So I wasn't even thinking about that. But once I started seeing people, and like I said, a lot of that had to come from another culture. And then also seeing what was taught, which again, I never heard before. And I was like, okay, I can get with this. Because again, I started seeing people who model, say, you know what, that can work. I can get with that. So it was that made me actually say, okay, I want to get married. That also lining up with the fact that I became a Christian. And one thing I didn't want to do, I didn't want to be out in the world. I didn't want to be, having sex out of marriage. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to, this is the lane I got to operate in, then what do I have to do? And so that actually motivated me once I saw that to say, okay, if I can find someone who can abide by this and agree with this kind of lifestyle, then yeah, I can marry someone like that.
Gotcha. Grooming, what you think, bro?
I think most of men now, they don't care about marriage. They care just, having the kids, living a life like that. I think that's wrong because we're made to marry somebody. We're made to have kids, where the family get our last names, be the head of the house, head of the table. And I think it's kind of slowly disappearing and is slowly fading away. I can hear a lot of times people say on these streets in real life, why get married? What's the point? I think that's the problem we're having now. We forgot where we're coming from.
Arpain, have you ever heard somebody sit a woman down and give them real instruction on what their job is with the man?
No, I thought I answered, but no, not at all. Not one bit.
Okay.
Like I said, within the last year, it's the first time I heard women started to try to train other women on how they could be good wives or good mates or helpmeets to their husband. But other than that, not one word. I know some good women too, but I don't know what they're teaching other women below them.
Gotcha. Lick, did you go, bro?
No, I hadn't went yet.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
No, you good. I had girl cousins, but the only time we saw them was like over our, grandmother's house because I don't have any sisters. And I have never heard a woman set another woman down and say, hey, this is what you do for your husband outside of church or, YouTube or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I've never seen another woman sit another woman down and say, hey, this is what you're supposed to do for your husband.
Gotcha. So when a woman says, I know how to treat a man, in the majority, would you say they lying?
I would say so. Yeah.
How about you, Trey?
I think they know how to treat a man. I think they go by what's being told to them on social media, that this is what men want, even though it's incorrect, and they're not actually paying attention. I don't think they're consciously lying. I think that they're saying what they think is right. Almost like plausible deniability, right? They just don't know any better. I think they're giving it their best shot, and which is why there's so much confusion when a man tells them, like me, I'm not a gift person. Don't buy me anything. I don't like gifts. And so, these modern women think, well, if I spend money on him, then I'm spoiling him or I'm catering him or I'm blowing a bag on my man, and I have to go back and go tell her, no, don't do that for me, because I don't like that. Well, what do you mean? Isn't that what men want? No, no. So I think they think they know what they're doing, but all in all, they're getting their information from an incorrect source.
What you got, Arpain? I seen you flag.
Yeah, the problem with women is they think we're women, so they think they know what we want based on them thinking we want the same things they do. And that's their number one fatal flaw. We're not women. So they don't understand men at all because they can't see us through the prism of that we're different, because they've been trained for years that there's no gender divide. So what they want, they think that's what we want. And there could be some shit that's further from the truth. And so they need to be retrained, but they're not willing for students. Because we've been telling them a lot of shit for a long time. And that's why I say until women start telling them what the real deal is, they're never going to learn, because they don't listen to them. So anyway, that's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. So is it fair for us to say again, for us to agree at this point that I'm not going to say all men, but men of that are marriage minded have a fair understanding of what they need to do in a household?
Yes.
Yeah. Y'all think that's fair?
That's
fair. Yeah, because it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I don't need to be married 100 times to figure out what a wife needs from me. It's been the same since the dawn of time. You know what I mean? Men have been required to do the same thing since we stepped foot on this land. Protect, provide, and the so on and the so on. It hasn't changed. So even me, who may not be on the marriage-minded tip, I don't need to be a mathematician to tell you E equals MC squared. I don't need to. I can explain it to you because it's never changed. It's always been the same.
Mm-hmm. And with that being said, Trey, if we can stay right there, is it fair for is do you think it's safe to say that you know for a fact, or most men know for a fact that if those certain things aren't met, that they'll lose their woman or women won't be attracted to them?
Absolutely. And furthermore, I think that men also understand that they have to improve over time. I think we've also learned that there has to be a little bit of an adjustment that being 50,000, 60,000 isn't going to be good enough. It's good enough to start, but I can't finish there. There's always got to be an escalation. I've always got to evolve and elevate and get better and get better and better. Men understand this.
What you think, Lit? You agree or disagree with that?
You know what? I put it to like this: men know what's expected of them. You know what I'm saying? And that's legit. Nothing like that has changed. So I agree with what Trey said.
Okay. How about emotional standing in a relationship, guys? What's y'all understanding of that when it comes to your woman grooming?
That is a can of worms, in my opinion, because
You're a little low, bro.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yep, there you go.
So that's a can of worms, to ask me, because they can be very emotional. They can be unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
At times, they can be, talkable and get through it. It's Russian roulette sometimes. It's,
right. But let's hold it. Let's hold it there. We have those understandings, but what is your role in dealing with those?
Try to bring her back to ground level.
Mm-hmm.
Try to lane her, like, okay, whatever she's going through, I'm there to help you.
Whatever she's going through, right?
Yeah, whatever it is it emotional, is it hormonal, whatever the case, it doesn't matter. I'm there as a man, as a head of the table, to make sure you're good, make you get through it. Whatever it takes, I'll get you through it. But you also have to let me help you at the same time.
Right. Trey, just to bounce back with you, when you said that the 65,000 might be good right now, if we're talking about financials. So again, we're talking about majority, not minority. Shout out to him, right? Would you say the majority of men understand that if they do have a wife and they do choose to have a family, that 9 times out of 10 they'll be looked at to carry the financial burden?
Yeah, and I think majority of men welcome it. I don't think when men are running away from their responsibilities as future husbands, as fathers, as leaders of their family. At least not the men that I've come across. Right? I don't see men saying, "No, I don't want 100% of the financial load. I don't want to lead the family." I see men running towards this. I see men making money, getting certifications in IT and engineering and whatnot to make more money simply so they could provide for their family in a better fashion. They're running towards the fire while everybody else is running out of the building.
And grooming, back to you on the emotional standpoint, right?
Go ahead.
Seeing how we have an understanding that women can be emotional and unsteady, right? Mm-hmm. While, as someone's in the chat said, I believe it was Romello, said that men over time, we have to learn to be emotionally mature, right? So we can absorb these things and redirect them from our wife, right? If she's off, we got to bring her back to ground zero, right?
Correct.
Right. What do you guys believe, especially you, grooming, because I'm talking to you, do you believe overall, the majority, right? The majority, do you believe that the majority of women are expected to carry the emotional load in a relationship, to be emotionally mature? Don't lie.
I want to say yes. At least where I grew up in Greece, that's the baseline. That's what
you in America. You in America.
You're right. Here depends how she was raised. That's a tricky question.
Right. So you telling me that when you got a girl right now?
Yes.
Right. So when your girl freak out, right, don't you just be like that? That's just her.
If she freaks out, it means she's pissed about something. She doesn't freak out easily.
Right. Listen to what I'm saying. Saying, right? If she freaks out, do you in your mind say you really should be emotionally mature so she can deal with this, or do you say she's just being a woman?
No, I get her back to ground zero.
You get her back to ground zero.
Yeah.
So again, do you say she should be emotionally mature in this moment? It doesn't require me to do anything to bring her back to ground zero? Or do you say she's being a woman and I have to bring her back down to earth?
She's being a woman.
Mr. Payne.
Yeah, what's up? Yes. Hey, listen, it's the men, no matter who you are, one of the things you have to learn is you have to have a certain amount of stoicism in your life. You got to be kind of stoic because your woman is going to be more emotional than you. And don't, like I said, women try to make men like women. That's why they all talk this bullshit about emotional intelligence, show me your feelings and all that horse shit.
Stop it right there. Stop it right there, Mr. Payne. Could you repeat what you just said? They believe that men are women, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Right? Do we expect a woman to be a man?
No. And when they try to be, they fail because they don't know how to be. You know, that's when you have to be the one that says, as a man, listen, you know, if something's bothering me, I'll let you know that if you need to know. Unless you don't need to know, I'm not telling you. I'm not going to weep in your arms. I'm not going to do none of that shit, you know. And when you come to me all chaotic and shit, I'm going to try to calm you down.
Right.
And that's what I'm going to do.
So I'm not sure to your question, Ricky. I think sometimes we do.
What's that?
Expect women to be men. When we say you have to be, you know, get your emotions in check and be analytical and all those functions. I think that is something that I know, like I said, I did early on. And like I said, I had to come into a realization that she's not me.
Right. Stay right there.
Yeah.
Stay your ass right there.
Right.
Stay right there. You just said you understand. You had to fix your mind to understand, right?
Yes.
That her mentality, her actions do not add up to what you would present as a man, correct?
Correct. 100%.
Because you'll be judged as what? If you came with those actions that she did, right? You be judged as what?
Oh, as a woman, as being fit in my feminine energy. But your question was, do men expect women to be like men? Now, I'm saying in my case, at one point I did.
Right.
And there might be a lot of guys who might be thinking, well, why can't you look at this logically? I'm laying down the facts and the statistics and all that. Why can't you get this? So I think we do try at times to get them to think like us.
Right. I don't. Right.
I don't either.
Just give me a second, guys. And I'm not throwing shots, right? This is just the way I
I
process stuff.
right?
What I'm saying is this, so we can get on with the star of the show, right? And just to address you, Mr. Payne, your experience is anecdotal, right? But I say this: if you could find a woman who thinks logically, she's dangerous. But I don't expect them to. You see what I'm saying? I don't expect them to, because let's be honest, guys. I don't care about. There's no right or wrong answers. We're trying to get to a baseline so we can tear this shit up, right? So let's keep it simple. The man, how I started this conversation, no matter how y'all try to put it, whether lessons was right or wrong, somebody steered them your way, right? Somebody steered them your way, right? I used to be a trainer, right? Everybody got different learning styles. Me, I'm the type of person, I got to see something, right? If I see it enough times, I can learn it, right? Some people need you to talk you through it, right? And they learn that way. Some people got to see it on a piece of paper, right?
Yeah.
So you still learned it. My point is that these lessons are for us and how we deal with women on a day-to-day, year-to-year, lifetime basis, right? Some of the lessons that me and Gat was, just fuck bitches, get money, right? But every one of us received a lesson on how to handle a woman. Even that dude that has the mentality and was taught the mentality of fuck bitches, get money, somebody gamed him up how to get there, right? Or at least the beginning steps. He has some inkling and understanding of what I got to do to get this woman to get to spot B. Y'all feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So with that being said, we moving on. Grooming said, in a relationship, I asked the question, how about emotional? If we're being totally honest, if we're being men, if we're being candid, most men are the emotional sponge in the relationship. Is that fair to say, or am I lying?
You telling the truth. Think about it, Rick. Most men will probably be known as what's known as an emotional thermostat. You ever seen whenever you changed out a radiator and they tell you to go in and change the thermostat out because it's about that time, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the pressure builds up on us, and it's up to us to relieve that pressure once it gets hot, so that fluid can go through the engine so it'll cool off and get to the fan, that type of thing. So most of the pressure is actually on the men. You're correct, Rick.
Okay. So why is it that Trey said most men, because we're talking about the majority, most men have a firm understanding that when it comes to treating and being with a woman, you're going to be responsible for the financial burden in most cases. Is that fair to say, gentlemen?
That's fair.
Yes. Right? If we have an understanding that you as a man have to be able to bring your woman back to earth when she's off axis emotionally. Correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Right? When the relationship goes bad, gentlemen, who gets the blame?
The men. Yeah, we all become narcissists then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who gets it? Mr. Payne. I need to hear y'all say it.
We all do. Men do, of course.
How about you, Grooming? The majority, sir.
I think it grew me, man. Thinking about that.
Yeah, you don't have to talk about that, man.
The girl's watching it. I don't want to get myself in trouble. That's why.
Listen, man, ain't nobody watching, man.
Hold on, Groom. You would get in trouble for speaking the truth?
No, I'm just fucking with you guys.
I don't know. You seem a little shaky, buddy.
Yeah, he's shaking on
words,
baby.
He's trying to calculate and see if this question worth it.
She's in the back room. She's in the room with a gun or something over there.
You trying to get laid tonight, bro? You can be the panel.
I understand. The words right out my mouth. That's what I was
take a break. Take a break.
Ain't trying to mess up his late night activity.
I ain't trying to mess with you. You know what I'm saying? Booty bouncing for you tonight, bro. I'm just.
Hey, Grooman, let me tell you something, man.
Hey, take one for the team, Grooman. Take one for the team, man.
Hey, Grooman. Hey, long time ago on Fred Sanford, there's this dude named Woodrow, and he had Grady tell him,
I am tired of being a cream puff.
You don't have to be a cream puff, brother.
Mr. Bennett.
Yeah.
So say you.
Oh, absolutely. Even when she's dead wrong, I'm still wrong.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like she finds some way caught in the act, and she'll still try to use that Jedi mind trick to still say that I bear some responsibility for the issue.
Right.
So of course, if the relationship goes wrong, it's all my fault. So
it's your fault. Right. Let's go into a more sensitive topic. Let's talk about the children.
Oh my God.
This is about to be fucked up.
You can't even give me a straight face, dude.
Anybody, did y'all? I'm from the ghetto, right? I'm from the south side of Chicago. I'm proud of it. How many of y'all have known mothers that was disgusting? I'm talking about the worst women, some of the worst women you ever saw.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oof.
How did their children treat them?
Like they walk.
like queens.
How their children treat them? Let's talk about how fathers are looked at. Trey, you and your girl separated, right? But y'all got a kid, right?
Right.
You got a good relationship with your daughter?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's a daddy's girl.
Gotcha. When you speak to people that don't know you, right? Let's say you have a chance encounter with somebody and your child comes up. Let's say they don't know you. In your experience, what is their impression of you before they get to know you?
if they didn't meet me, but they saw me interact with my daughter, is that what you're saying?
Or they found out you had a child and you're not with your child's mother anymore.
Oh, if they found out that I'm not with my child's mother anymore, it's typically something along the lines of, well, what did you do, or how did you screw it up, or did you cheat on her, or are you abusive, or something along those lines. It's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
When people see me with my daughter, from women, I typically get, oh, that's cute. You guys are so cute. That's adorable. And then from the guys, I get typically, that's beautiful, man. You and your daughter, that's beautiful. But for people who don't know me, would think that my relationship with my daughter's mom was it was chaotic at times.
Mm-hmm.
And my philosophy was always the same. Speaking back on your last point, if I'm going to take the blame, then we're going to do things my way. That's my mentality. If you're going to ask me to cook the meal, then I get to shop for the groceries. That's how this works.
And I won't steak. You feel me?
Absolutely. So I'm okay with anybody saying that, oh, your relationship failed. If you want to blame it on me, that's fine. But in this particular case, in the last one, I tried something different. I didn't go buy the groceries. I just cooked the meal, and I had whatever she gave me. And I couldn't cook a sustaining, substantive meal based on what was given to me. But the relationship between me and my daughter is amazing. When people see us together, she looked just like me. So when people see us together, they realize, he's a good dad. He's involved. I'm stern but fair. I'm disciplined but fair with my daughter. I don't want her to be, grow up to be entitled or to be spoiled, even though she is. As much as I try not to, she is. And then she's spoiled more with love than the material things, and it shows. It shows. But I think people who don't get to see that side of me think that I'm probably the worst guy in the world to date until you get around me and see that how I am on the screen is not how I am in real life.
Right. Gotcha. So would to kind of elaborate or to kind of pinpoint, right? Would you say that when it comes to people understanding and seeing that you're a good dad, it has to be a proof of concept first? They got to see it.
Oh, absolutely. I could. Now, here's the thing. To other guys, I could, they can smell, they can figure it out, right? Like he's a good guy, he's a good dad. But to women, no, they gotta experience it. They gotta see me with my daughter or see me on FaceTime. She calls me every day. See me on Face. They have to see me interact with my daughter to say, oh, okay, yeah, he's a decent father.
Okay. Side note, why is it so hard for people to simply label a bad mom as a bad mom?
Easy.
I'll tell you why.
Please.
Because women are sugar and spice and everything nice. That's why. You know what I'm saying? Women can't do no wrong, man.
Right. So do y'all believe those are lessons and instructions that men get from the time they're able to walk?
That's what I got, Unc.
Yeah.
It is an absolute brainwashing. I'm serious, especially if she's a single mom. It's an absolute brainwashing. I got it. The best thing that could have ever happened to me was me going into the Air Force, because it got me to see things right clearly, and got me to be more inquisitive and ask questions. Well, why is this? And why is that? And why did you make this decision? And why did you do this? Right? But growing up, you could not. I would have fought you tooth and nail if you would have told me my mom was anything other than the greatest woman walking this planet. Me and you would have probably came to blows if you would have told me that, right? But after I got in the military, if you would have said, "Hey, man, I need to tell you some real things about your mother," I'd have been like, "I'm listening."
Right. Because even when we argue with our wives, right, or your girl, right, even if you put her in a place after that, you telling her, "Hey, it's gonna be okay," right? Grooming. Why is it so hard for everybody to simply label their mother if she's a bad woman, a crackhead, if she slept with the neighbor and she was an alcoholic? Why is it so hard for everyone to simply put their mother aside when a father can be discarded so easy?
I probably think is because we think we owe her something, like giving her, she went through labor and all that stuff. So we might think maybe not mentally, but back in our heads, and little birdie back there says, you kind of owe her. But it's also natural, the child to go to their mother versus go to their father. I don't know if I'm making sense here.
Yeah, you make it perfect sense. I want to go back to the point where you said somewhere in the back of our little dinosaur brains, right? But what's the why behind that? We have these thoughts, we have these things that make us, we're not stupid unless we are, right? Where we see things and we're able to analyze them and judge them on, a case by case basis of what's happening. And we see bad happening. Why can't we label a mother or especially a mother for what exactly it is? Well, Mom, you a fucked up mom.
Well, can I answer that a little bit?
I asked grooming. God damn it!
I'll be very straight and honest.
I thought you okay. I just thought
I'll be very straight and honest. I know this sounds very fucked up on to say, but I have called my mother out on her shit. Way she treated my father.
You're anecdotal. We're asking the majority questions, good sir. Why as a whole? And listen to what I'm saying. You have to present it right as that you was just standing up to your mother. Listen to what we say and how we talk about it. You feel inside that it was something that you just had to do for you to be the best you could, or to get past this situation. But with your daddy, you'll cuss him out in a second. Dad, you wasn't shit, you fucking alcoholic, and blah, blah, blah. Why? You wouldn't be here if your daddy didn't step to your mama, son.
And that's facts.
Mr. Payne.
Well, listen, a lot of this shit has historical context, right? Just like they say men in general, not just black men, are weaker now than they ever were before, lower testosterone and all that. Women were made of stronger stuff back in the day when they had to earn their keep, because men expected it. They didn't give them all the rights. But as soon as we gave women all the rights, there's something about men who want to protect women in all ways. And now we have a diaspora of women who expect shit from men, and a whole bunch of men who have been really lenient on women, especially on accountability, responsibility. And it's not just black women, it's all women. They don't get the same punishments for the crime they commit. They don't have to really justify why they're a better parent than a man. And a lot of the laws that have been passed by a majority of men, because we think women need to be coddled and protected. And the pendulum has swung so much that it's so out of balance. And now that women are starting to get in power, in mayors, governors, they bring their same bullshit and emotions to those jobs. That's why we have lawlessness in the blue cities and all that. It's all connected. So we just coddle women. And I argue with my sister all the time. She says, black women are the least this. I said, shut the fuck up, man. You guys are the most coddled people in the whole world. Stop it. And so they're just coddled, man. And we men have created this monster, and I'm not so sure we can take it back.
Okay. So you said that it's our job to protect them at the beginning of your
that was our we've made, especially in the West, we made the world for women in the West a haven. Gotcha. It's still dangerous in parts, but they're the safest and the most entitled women in the whole goddamn world in the West, especially in America. Forget it.
Gotcha. Okay. Mr. Liddy Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Why is it so hard, bro?
I'm gonna tell you why. And it's very basic. It's not nuanced. It's not any of that. I'm gonna tell you why. It's because mothers are soft, and they embrace you. You know what I'm saying? They coddle you. They make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. But your dad will tell you to get up off your ass. He'll make everything hard on you.
You big dummy.
He'll call you a big dummy. You know what I'm saying? He'll push you out there to make you better than what you want to do. See, most times, what people don't realize, most times the dad is the disciplinarian, and nobody likes to be corrected. You know what I'm saying? Mom will sit up there and tell you, baby, it's gonna be okay. Kiss you on your boo-boo. Your dad gonna grab a handful of dirt and rub it on your leg and tell you to get your ass back out there in the game. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be around the person that pushes them. But I tell you what, at the end, when you become greater than what you thought you would be, you'll start to say, you know, I'm glad my dad kicked my ass and made me a better person than I am today. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there's a time and a place for mom. Yes, there's a time and a place for dad. But for the most part, if dad is missing, you're thinking that most people are supposed to coddle you. So guess what? When it comes time to figuring out whether a woman is bad or not, all they're going to see is the coddling part. They're going to overlook the bad. They can't see the bad. And no matter how much good your dad does, I don't care if he mess up one time, you're always going to think about him as the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy. He's the disciplinarian. It's always easier to bag on the man who's trying to make you better than what you are, the person who doesn't make it comfortable for you. That's the main reason why. It has nothing to do with society and all this other stuff. It's just basic, man. Nobody wants to love the person that pushes them, but everybody loves the person that brings you in and gives you them hugs and kisses and coddles. And that's
they hate the push, but they jealous of the results at the end, right?
Exactly.
Right. So again, within your conversation, you said that, is it fair to say, and do you guys on the panel agree that most women, again, we talk about majority, have an issue with discipline when it comes to children?
I would say so, man.
Hell yeah, they got an issue with discipline in their own damn life. So of course they got an issue with discipline with their children. And the other part of it is too, a lot of them grew up without any discipline. There was no discipline in their house, so they don't. They don't understand it, and it doesn't feel good. Discipline sucks. It sucks to be in a situation where you know that you're required to do something. You're required to do it in a certain way, in a certain manner, on a certain time, and then you have to do it repeatedly. It can get boring and monotonous. Discipline is not fun at all. And so if you don't grow up in that environment, how can you give that to your kids? Most of us men, we grew up in that environment, so it's easy for us to give it to our kids. My daughter has to make up her bed before she can even leave the room, before she goes and brushes her teeth. It's discipline.
Make your bed, sir. Right? Mr. Payne, I'm sorry, Mr. Bennett. My apologies, Mr. Payne. I'll come to you next. Mr. Bennett, you was about to say something, bro?
Well, I think it's a little more nuanced than that, because we have to be clear on what discipline is. Can women be disciplinarians? Yeah. My mom, she was the main person who whipped me. But that's not necessarily discipline either. Discipline is about creating a structure, a way of doing things in order. If you have to go to the belt, it's probably because there's a lack of discipline.
Understood.
So a lot of times, well, the mom is the disciplinarian. In our minds, we're oftentimes saying, well, that's the one that whips you. And that's not necessarily a sign of discipline at all. So I just want us to be clear on what we're talking about.
Understood.
If you talk about setting a structure, setting a standard, setting a routine, maintaining order, but if she's in her emotions and she just takes the belt off of the shoe or the extension cord or the wires or whatever it is, and she's the one who's beating you, I wouldn't call that being a disciplinarian either.
Gotcha. So I totally agree, right? It's definitely about structure, right? So with that being said, in the majority of your experiences, or your understanding, I should say, do you believe that most women are good in setting that structure for children?
In most, no. I would say not. I would say not. I mean, unless she comes from that kind of background, she may come from a building, or the ones I do see have some is like if she's a teacher, like a real teacher, like in a classroom environment. So again, you have to set structure in your class. You're taught those things, at least on an educational level, in terms of how to run a school, how to run a class, or whatever. So maybe you can transfer some of that to a home environment. But unless they're trained to be so, I don't think it's necessarily in their natural inclination to set that structural value. But I have seen women do it. But again, it's trained. They were in the military. They had something that gave them a structure that they can then use, especially with children, in their home life or in their professions.
Gotcha. So to kind of elaborate on your point, right? I work in a public school, and there's some good teachers, but most of them suck dick.
Almost choked.
Right? That's a double entendre for you people that don't know, right?
Oh man.
So again, I work in IT. I'm an IT professional at schools. I make sure I keep running network administrator, cybersecurity. I do all that, right? So I go to classrooms to fix equipment, gather equipment, stuff like that. And there's some classrooms that run like a top, right? But most of those classrooms are trash. The kids are running everywhere. They're on iPads. They hyped up on goddamn juju beans and donuts from the morning, right? So again, is it fair to say, can we agree as men on the panel that discipline is hard or very difficult for the majority of women that have children?
Absolutely, because they want to be seen as the good guy.
Okay. So seeing how that goes, especially if there's a man in the house, if she's married, would you guys see the discipline if it was in this type of array in a family? Would that not fall or the judgment fall on the man? Would you not look at the man like, why are your kids acting like this?
Yeah,
Where's
absolutely.
their daddy?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So, in this short time we've had together, we established that the man is the emotional sponge of the relationship. The man is the financial workhorse of the relationship. The man is in charge for the discipline of the children. Because if the children ain't good, the first thing people ask is what?
Yep.
What's the question they ask, gentlemen?
Where they daddy at?
And that's
When you see, and let me make it even clearer for y'all to hammer this point home. If you see somebody, some older man messing with some younger girl that he ain't got no business with, what's the first thing that pop in your head?
She need a father figure.
She got
Daddy issues.
She got daddy issues.
Yeah, daddy issues. Yeah.
Right? Because if it was you, you'd be like, where the blicky at, right?
Correct.
What else did I leave out that happens and intertwines? Oh, sex. Who's responsible for keeping the marriage hot and fiery?
Cheers.
Mr. Payne.
Damn, that's a good one, man. That is a good one. Because I never had a problem in that area. But when you say who's responsible, I think the woman in our relationship has to make sure that she looks at that as one of her obligations, when all the rest of the obligations for me are what you said, to keep the family together. Because when a woman stops thinking sex in a relationship is part of her obligations, that's when we have problems. When she uses that as a weapon or a reward, and you let her, that's where you start to lose your relationship. So I believe a woman should have that obligation at the very least as part of one of her duties to her husband.
Grooming. Sir.
Sure.
Is it your responsibility to keep it spicy in your relationship?
I think it's 50-50, to be honest. I think it's a combination. Because it's her job to want it, not fake it, actually want me in bed with her versus her faking it. It goes both ways. I can do all the work. I can take her to dinner. I can, put flowers all over the bed.
She take you out? When the last time she took you out and paid?
I'm sorry?
When's the last time she took you out on a date and paid?
Probably, I would say about a week ago.
Oh, great. That's awesome, man. How many times that happened?
Once.
Mr. Bennett.
Oh, yeah. Leading the witness. Leading the witness.
Mr. Bennett.
Yes, sir.
Whose responsibility is it to keep it spicy in the relationship?
I used to think it was the woman, but in recent times, especially in these spaces, it is certainly being known to me that it is the man's responsibility to keep
Explain. Could you drill that down a
Well,
little bit?
we had and most of these guys were on the show. We were talking with some ladies who were on the panel, and we were asking them about it. Let's say go back in time, you get married very young. Would you want a man who did not have either his master's in Johnson or his PhD when it came to sex? Now, some of these people are, again, the quote unquote, the virtuous ones. Keep your legs closed type of women. But at the same time, they made it very clear that their man, he better know what he's doing when it comes to that area. And if he's not, I don't want to deal with it. Even if I could say, look, you're going to be married for decades. You can learn. They no, they want it good from day one. So these days I'm starting to think that it's really, we're the ones that have to keep them moist and keep them happy in that regard, or they start having these feelings elsewhere. So I'm starting to learn. It might be us that we got to keep that thing going, and or else we gonna have problems. So I think it's more on us if we want that, in a relationship. So
appreciate you, Trey. Go for it, bro.
Yeah, I've never been married, so I don't know from that angle. I will say this: the sensible answer in my mind sounds like it should be women.
It should be.
Yeah, just the logical, the pragmatic answer, the way my mind works, sounds like that responsibility should fall on women, considering that, well, they're in control of who has sex anyway.
Right, but does it?
No, I don't think so. I think women see that as just another role and responsibility that men are supposed to have. It's just something else they're supposed to do, along with the the whining and dining and all the other stuff that is being placed on men. But I can tell you that the best relationships that I've ever had, she was the horny little whatever, you know what I mean? Like, she was on it. It was all, she was the one who initiated majority of the sex. Any relationship that I was in where I initiated majority of the sex, they didn't last very long.
Gotcha. What you think, Lit?
It's supposed to be the woman, because I let me tell you, I can't rub my own back, baby. You know what I'm saying? Unlike grooming, I'm not going to slide down the stripper pole. I don't believe in that 50-50 thing when it comes to stuff like that. It's really supposed to be on her, man, because she's the one that has to be in the mood. You know what I'm saying? As men, we always in the mood. We ready to go whenever. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to her to let us know, hey, the kitchen's open. You know what I'm saying? Come on in. You know what I'm saying? The water's fine. That's right.
Before you go, Ricky, the one thing with Mr. Bennett said that I agree with is that you should always know where the buttons are to press. But I think a woman should see it as one of her obligations to keep you satisfied for all the other shit that you do for her. I really believe that.
Yeah, well, she should know where the buttons are pressed too.
That's right.
No, that's true too. But I'm talking about from a man to a woman, And
unfortunately, a lot of these modern women, they have no access to the controls. They don't know where the damn buttons are, let alone which ones to press.
They don't give a shit about what the damn buttons.
Now, having said that, though, the ones that do, we got all kinds of names for them, though. So
No, we don't.
I'm talking about within a marriage. I'm talking about within a marriage.
No, not within a marriage. No, I'm just saying the ones who know all the buttons and are got skills left, right, and center.
No, not me. Right? Again, I speak in majorities, right? So the names for them applies because they don't give it to just the people they with. They give it to everybody. You see what I'm saying?
That's right.
So we got. I don't label nobody. I don't mislabel nobody. Hey, you a hoe? You a hoe? Hey, do you? You know what I'm saying? I try to tell people, men honest with hoes because ain't no lie in them. You see what I'm saying? So they is what they is, but we talking about, the mating rituals here. So, hopefully being with somebody. Okay. So Mr. Bennett was the only one saying that the actual responsibility is on a man, correct? Is that fair?
Yeah, and grooming was 50%. You know what I'm saying? So we had
grooming gonna stay on that 50.
2.5%.
I thought I won Trey over, but I don't know.
Yeah, grooming gonna stay on that fist till they punch him in the ass. No didn't.
Probably.
Better question. If the majority, what y'all see today, because I don't want to personalize it. What y'all see today, what's the reasoning, would you guys say in most cases, that a woman, when she sleeps with another man and she has a boyfriend, what would you guys believe is the most popular excuse given for her doing that? Your personal opinion.
From what I've seen is that the other guy was more exciting. You know what I'm saying? He was exciting. That was about it.
He was more spicy, right?
Yeah, he was more spicy.
How about you, grooming?
I hear a couple of them. He doesn't pay attention to me. He's an asshole.
Did you hear what I said?
That was the other one I hear the most. He doesn't know how to mix it up. It's boring. Those are the top 4 or 5 I get off my head right now.
Mr. Bennett.
Kind of what everybody said. I mean, look, that guy makes me wetter. But his swag, his bling, the way he talks to me, he just
hop up out the bed, put my swag on.
That's all right.
What's good, Arpain? What you think?
No, man, I agree, man. A woman will find a way while she's drinking out of another man's straw to blame that shit on you. You know, they you know,
name a couple of the excuses they'll use.
Oh well, one, you're not emotionally intelligent to me. You don't satisfy this, and all. You
don't satisfy what, sir? Be more specific, sir.
You don't satisfy my emotional needs. You don't satisfy my sexual needs. You work too hard. Actually, they'll throw that you work too hard. You're not around. Even though you keep it, they'll use that shit against you, that you working for the family against you because you ain't up under their thumb. So they will do that, and then they'll, when she's out there, she'll be banging out the pool boy. The guy might say that. She'll be banging him out.
Trey, holla at me, bro.
Yeah, I can tell y'all not out here in these streets. The excuses women give for cheating is because he was cheating on me. So I'm gonna get back because they are now under the belief.
Somebody got to go on mute.
They are now under the belief that they think that the woman having a sex with a bunch of men hurts the man in the same manner that she was hurt, right, from her man cheating on her. So that's why they a lot of the times that's the excuse they're giving. Well, he out here doing him, so I'm gonna do me. Okay, and your body count is reaching the sky, and he's getting accolades and pats on the back from his boys from getting more women. We're not the same.
Right. So she's trying to be the man at a man's game is what you're telling me.
Exactly. And she's what my man saying in the movie, you are outgunned and outmanned. You're
outgunned and outmatched.
Yeah. You do not have the equipment to fight this fight.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you for your candor and your time. So did we establish that the man is the emotional sponge of the relationship?
Yes.
That if the kids go bad, it's because of discipline, because the man's not there, even if he is there, he's not doing his job, correct?
Yep.
He's gonna be the emotional, the fight. He's gonna be, or they want him to be, the financial breadwinner. Correct?
Yes.
Yep.
You also have to be a stud.
Yes.
Of course.
That's a lot of hats. Wouldn't y'all? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of hats, bro.
It's a lot of hats. Because when the kids go bad, it's your fault. When the sex go bad, it's your fault. When the money go bad, it's your fault. If her emotions are allowed to run rampant, right? You guys all know what's going to happen, right? The house is going to fall on top of your head. Facts.
Yep.
What else is there to a relationship?
Well, of course, you know, if you don't go to church, you know, you the spiritual head of the family too. So if you don't do that, that's your fault too.
Jesus, right?
That's right. You ain't in touch with the Lord. You're not equally yoked, as they say. That's the Christian version. You know what I'm
Was
saying?
she supposed to be equally yoked with me or me with her?
No, you supposed to be equally yoked with her. Let her tell it.
What does the good book say?
Oh, she's supposed to be equally yoked with you. After all, she is the helpmate, so that means you came first and she came second, right?
So right. But what you telling me in a nutshell is that the only way she can follow me is if I'm following God.
Correct.
So I got to be right when it comes to the spiritual health of the household.
That's right.
Damn. Anything else to a relationship I'm missing? Gentlemen?
I think we pretty much covered it, man. We got
Oh,
shelter.
yeah, okay, well, you're also talking about the extended family.
Oh.
So when it comes to parental care, not only your parents, but her parents. So whatever that tribe is, you're supposed to be the tribal chief also when it comes to those things.
The patriarch.
Like I said earlier, head of table.
You know what I'm saying?
What's the woman's job in all this?
Good question.
You asking rhetorically? You asking? You're asking a serious question, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. To make all that stuff as easy as possible.
That's it.
To not put any additional stress on that doesn't need to be. Like Trey said earlier, I already know that I'm going to carry a lot of those burdens. Don't make those burdens any unnecessarily more difficult than what needs to happen. Cooperate with me as I do all of these things. If you can lighten some of my load to if I can delegate some of those tasks and responsibilities to you, so I don't have to be looking at everything, terrific. But as long as whatever helps me in all of those areas, cooperation.
Yeah, in other words, do what the hell I'm telling you to do. I mean, Mr. Bennett made it sound nice, but I'm just gonna keep it 100. Do what the fuck I'm telling you.
I like that. I like that energy. I like the good cop, bad cop energy. I like that.
You know what I mean? Like, just do what I ask you to do, because I've got the plan. I'm cooking the meal. Just follow me. I got this. I say that a lot. I got this. Just do what I ask you to do. Whatever role I give you, whatever assignment I give you, whatever value I give you, just handle your business, and then we'll be good. We're good to go. That's what I think. When I look at a woman, I'm like, it's your job to do whatever the hell your man is telling you to do. That's your husband. And he says, hey, this needs to be done. This got to be done. That's your responsibility to go knock it out.
Mr. Payne, what you think?
No, I agree with that. I mean, listen, I've been through that several times through my long marriage, and I don't hesitate to tell my wife the things I think she's doing wrong. I encourage her to tell me if she thinks I'm doing something wrong. Don't wait for me to correct you to say all the shit that I didn't do. Right? If I'm correcting you, I said, we ain't talking about me now. We're talking about you. So if I have some shit that you think I should correct, don't be waiting until I correct you to say them. But, so we and the shit's never really that serious. But, we go through some of that, but I try to correct things that go off track when I see them. I don't let those shit fester. I don't get into it, but I have a bunch of anecdotal experiences where I've corrected, stuff and put my wife back on track. And my life has been much better for her, for both of us.
Right. So again, your job is to lead her correctly, right?
Yes.
Also, hey, Lit, can you can you please highlight Miss Locks to Smile?
I got you.
Comment, please.
I got you.
A woman's job. Hey, sis, how you doing? Happy Friday to you.
Yeah.
A woman's job is to relieve almost all domestic, nurturing, supportive, and sexual duties and more.
She got it.
Hold on, fellas. Please. fellas, candidly, as a majority of the women, do you guys believe that women have this understanding that we see on this screen at this moment?
They understand it. They just don't want to do it because they will let you know they don't want to do it.
They'll tell you. They'll tell you that, but
I'm gonna tell you how I got this ring. You know, they know. Now whether they will decide to do it is two different things.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if they. I don't even know if they know it.
Oh, they know because they got a house too.
I mean, there's a difference between a woman who's rebellious and a woman who's just ignorant. And I think the fact is that they're being conflated because the problem is when you add those two together, they're the majority. I think that's the issue. I mean, some of them are ignorant and some of them are willfully, like I could throw out a name like, and I hate to use her name, but like Ebony K. She's willfully ignorant about what she should do for a man. You know, so, and then there's other women out there that we know on these YouTube streets that has no clue on what a man needs. And both of those put together turns out to be the majority of women.
Well, I'm sorry. Who's that? Juliet?
I was going to ask. I was going to say the whole thing. Well, it was like we spoke to earlier. Women expect men to be women, like they want to give gifts as if that men are women. So if they have that understanding, then we can't conflate to say that they don't know what's going on. They don't know what's to be expected. Because they already do the same thing for themselves. So if they do that and they try to project that onto men, that would lead me to believe that they know exactly what they're doing. They just choose not to say it out loud. You understand what I'm saying? It's called plausible deniability.
Always. Question. If you got, because Trey, Grooming, and Lit, you guys are single. We off the market. Thank God. Right?
You're lucky.
If y'all found a woman who had this understanding and demonstrated it, would you consider marriage at that point?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Nope.
Well, I know you. I know you would.
Forget about it, man. This guy ain't getting married.
But okay, because Trey, you don't believe in marriage. How about a lifetime partner with no paperwork?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything that would take the government out of it, I'd be fine with. But yeah, if I found a woman who understood, make sure I get this right, Uncle. When you say understand this, it means that I don't have to explain this to her. She's coming in. She's coming in with this knowledge. Okay.
You meet her. Y'all hook up. Y'all link. You go through the phase, right? And you seeing, and she's demonstrating that this is her understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. Then I would absolutely entertain the idea of being with her long term, super long term.
Is this why men aren't getting married?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Or the lack thereof.
Right. I was going to say, a lot of women, they don't know this. Who taught them? Who taught them that this was their responsibility? That this was their role? Who taught them? Their mama didn't teach them. Their mama was working. And the mama told them to go to school. Grandmama told them to go to school, get an education. Don't rely on a man. Mm-hmm. So nobody told them, hey, it's your responsibility to get into this man's life and provide value domestically through nurture, being supportive. Oh, and sex is on you too. Mm-hmm. The women, remember you asked earlier, you said, do women sit down and talk to other girls about this stuff? The answer is no, they don't. Because if they did, this would be common knowledge. You know how we know I'm supposed to take care of the bills. I'm supposed to protect you. I'm the one that's got to get up in the middle of the night and go get the blicky and go find out who's walking throughout our house. I already know that. I didn't have to sit. Nobody sat me down and taught me that. I knew that inherently as a man. It's my job. So my question is when does that happen with the women? Do they know it? No, they don't. They don't know it. So therefore, this whole little aspect, it is extremely rare. Mm-hmm. It's extremely rare to find in today's woman. Now, the woman that Mr. Payne married, this made it came standard, like, electric windows and power locks. You know what I mean? It may have came standard on the women. But in today's atmosphere, if you sit down and ask a woman, what is your job in a relationship? You're not going to get this answer.
Gotcha.
You know what, Rick? Here's the thing. I got a little bit of pushback. Please. Women do these things for the men that they really want. I'm gonna tell you why. Because anytime some woman gets broke up with a dude, the first thing they always say is, "I did everything. It broke my heart." You know what I'm saying?
But they didn't.
I gotta stop you.
They'll say it. They didn't do it though.
I gotta stop you, bro. They liars.
They
liars.
Listen, now what they said and what they do may be two different things. But I'm just telling you what they print on the headlines on the front
Oh
cover.
yeah, they'll definitely say that.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of what I was saying earlier. Right. The truth is, bro, is that it doesn't matter. Listen to what I'm saying, right? No matter what nobody wants to admit, right? Perception is reality in most cases, right? It's up to you to deny that perception, right? So the perception is, even in this case, I'm about to fuck you up. Let me flip this on this here real quick, right? A woman's job is to relieve almost all domestic, nurturing, supportive, and sexual duties and more. Most people will say a dad should be around so a daughter can have an understanding of the relationship and how a mother should treat a husband. Am I off?
Nope.
No, you ain't off.
Y'all let me know when I lie. I will apologize. So what is a woman's job? I know what it is. I know what it is. Because at the end of the day, like I told y'all, I keep trying to tell you, you got to pay the cost to be the boss. I'm going to get blamed. Trey, what we say, Trey?
You're going to get blamed.
So we 100%. Do it our way, right?
Do it our way. You want me to cook the meal? I get to pick the groceries.
We know this as men. That's why I tell the young men that listen to me, run it your way. What is her job? She only got one, gentleman. What is it?
I just said cooperate, so that's mine. I could be wrong, but I'll stay with that.
No, Mr. I mean I agree, Mr. Bennett. It's along the same lines. It's be whatever I need you to be. The Swiss Army knife. Whatever I ask you to be that. Within reason, obviously, I can't expect her to be, but within reason.
Mm-hmm. Hey, one, I mean, have my children and nurture them. Have my children, man. If I'm marrying you, I want to marry you because I want a legacy. I want children. I want you to be the mother of my children. That's an honor in itself that I didn't share the seat with anybody else but you, because I want you to be the mother of my kids. Mm-hmm. And the only thing on top of that for me is that, that the number one thing a woman has to do for me is be respectful. Mm. I mean, I can work out, and of course, faithful, that kind of stuff, but, and nurture my children. And if we're in the non-secular world, we follow the Bible. I read mine. I listen to my old preaching and all that kind of stuff. But but I think I always tell my wife I always have one foot in the secular world because that's where we have to live. All the stuff in the pie in the sky stuff is great, but we have to keep our feet on the ground too. Because sometimes people get lost in that and it becomes a fantasy. So we can argue the benefits and merits of that later, but have my children, man. And my wife has done a beautiful job of doing that. So,
gotcha. Hey, you want to go ahead and read the super chats, bro?
Oh yeah, let me go ahead and get them out the way. I didn't peg most of them, so let me go ahead and get those out the way. The first super chat that we have is from Romello 747. He said, "Men definition of words are completely different than women."
I agree with that.
Appreciate the $5 super chat.
Appreciate
we also have a $2 super chat from Almond Eyes. Let's get things started with the word from the pastor. You know what I'm saying? We also got another $5 super chat from Mello. I said, when you think of being romantic, it's not the women that comes to mind. And the matter of fact, women suck trying to lead the conversation.
Men are the romantic ones, not women.
Yeah,
exactly. And also from Embrace the Grace, she said a woman's job is to inspire, motivate, encourage, cook, clean, you know what, and shut the up. Let's watch the game in peace and give him peace. Let them watch the game in peace. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give everybody a little bit of taste of a little super chat music. So let me see if I can find something that real nice, real nice. Let's see. Let me see if I can find something good. Where is it? I know Black Man got him hid out in here somewhere. Where is he? Oh, here we go. Let's go.
They said big bag bitch get to the bag. They said big bag bitch you want a snack. Well this big bag bitch she got the stack. So put big bag bitch clothes on the rack. Ooh, on the macaroni. Move and shake it for me. Ooh, we shaking it quick and the brands are phony. Ooh, the brands are phony. Ooh, they need a Tony. They need an Emmy, Oscar, Grammy cause the shit baloney. The way they be faking like they're making all the sizes. If you ain't got at least a 4X you ain't trying. Ooh, so give it to us baby. Give us a guy. Give it to us when we step on the spot. Ooh, they said big
sausage biscuits, ladies and gentlemen. Sausage biscuits. Put your hand together for sausage biscuits. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, and to agree with to definitely agree with what Miss Locks had posted, right, and other ladies are putting in the chat, right. Those are the things that a woman is to provide for the man, right? But your job, if we want to get it down to the baseline, right? Because I got to go to bed. I'm tired. To get down to the baseline again, my understanding is my opinion. You guys can take it. If you don't like my opinion, you can leave, right? Those are the things you present to the man. Your job as a woman is to make sure you present those to the correct man. That's it.
That's right.
That's all. It's crazy how women have basically one responsibility in this entire thing and they can't seem to get it fucking right. Everything, when it fails, when it goes bad, when the shit hits the fan, whether you're still in that relationship or it ends, the man is going to be held responsible fully and ultimately. The one job a woman has is to make sure that she chooses the correct man.
Absolutely.
That's it. Right?
Right.
That's it. Everything else that they presented goes along with that. The sex part, right?
Right.
The sex part. Your job within this, your job within the job. What they say? Additional duties as needed, right?
Right.
The one job you have in that is that I should know that that child is mine.
Yeah, that it would help. It would help.
So when we have these arguments about when from women and they say, oh, it's your responsibility. Like that's facts. It's our responsibility because we're going to be held responsible, whether it's the responsible man, right? Who wants to handle his business appropriately, 10 toes down, do what he's supposed to do as a father and a man, right? Or you're going to have to state after your ass. You take your pick.
Right.
But why would you as a woman not take the job that you have of selecting the man to be the father of your children so you wouldn't have to go to the state, that he would marry you and regard you as his wife? Everything else falls on the man anyway. Y'all might not want to admit it. Y'all want to dance around it and play strong, independent, blah, 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 and liberal bitch made ass dudes. But the truth is, in your house, you know what the fuck's going on.
Absolutely.
So why is it so hard for women to get the one thing they're responsible for correct? You know what the excuses I heard? There's not enough good. There's not enough good men out here.
Well, I thought it only took one.
Right? It's because the pookies are so prevalent that a woman has no choice but to deal with a dude that's not going to take care of his children and her. I thought y'all had intuition. I thought you guys were the smarter, sharper sex. It's evident. I don't care what nobody say. You could talk to the largest number of men, do a Gallup poll. Most men are going to agree and give you these same requirements that a man must present to establish and keep a woman. Any pushback I'll take right now.
Yeah, you ain't pushed back
You
from me.
don't get none.
You're right. I think we'll get what is that for? The pussy comes right in front of us and hypnotize us and chase it like we're like little dogs.
But still, that's on you though. You know what he's talking about is her responsibility. You know what I'm saying? She already agreed to be with you. You know, she already agreed to be with you. It's just, you know, while you're with somebody, you know, are you doing your role? That's all that is.
Right.
And I definitely, I know you guys watch me. You guys be. I am an advocate for men being stand-up men.
True that.
I am an advocate for it. Do we make mistakes along the way? Hell yeah. Ain't none of us perfect. If that was the case, we'd be Jesus. Right? But when you once you get that understanding, for me, it took me 35 years on this plane of existence to figure it out. Every man, I think most men figure it out at some point. For me to say all of them, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. That'd be a cold ass lie. But most men have the general understanding, and it comes right off the top of the dome. We didn't rehearse this, did we? We put this show together in 5 minutes.
Yep.
Have this understanding of what's necessary. Why is it so difficult for the woman to understand her role and know her job? Is again, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because her father failed her, right?
Part of it, yeah.
Right? It's because her father failed her, right? Her father never gave her the lessons. Again, my fault. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's never the question that the mother simply slept with a man that she didn't know. You know what I seen on Instagram today?
What's that?
I seen a woman posting on Instagram. This guy, the guy I met a year ago in Vegas, this is your baby.
Wow.
And had a poll up. Listen, she had a poll up. Do you know him? Or, no, I don't know him, but I'll check it out.
Really?
Yes.
She put up a "Have you seen my baby daddy" post.
Yeah. She didn't even know the man's name. She met him in a hotel hallway and fucked him the same day.
Oh my.
And now has a baby a year later. Actually, 2 years. It was 2 years later because the baby was 2. What was her responsibility in that transaction?
To make sure that she get pregnant or marry the guy she got pregnant by. Protect the box at all costs.
It's the one job y'all have, women, and a lot of y'all not very good at it. The majority of y'all don't do y'all job. It ain't my fault. It's just the way it is. Hey, I had a long day, bro. I got to get out of here, man.
Indeed.
Shout out to y'all.
Great hosting, Rick. I mean,
shout out to y'all.
Great combo. Appreciate you.
Yeah, good show, bro.
I appreciate y'all. Hey, be safe out there, man. Keep y'all head on the
All
swivel,
right,
brothers. Y'all have
Appreciate it, Rick.
All right.
Appreciate it, Rick. Gentlemen, did y'all want to rebut or retort before we get up out of here, Mike?
I don't think
so.
Which
part? Which part?
The part where it's her responsibility to make sure.
It's the problem with that part of it, that last bit that Ricky talked about with women. Yeah. One of the problems women have is there's no shortage of men who are willing to take away their agency by giving an excuse for being in control of their own bodies.
Right.
I'm on these panels, and there are it's so many men who come up and say, listen, it's a man could, put a Jimmy Jam on and all this. I mean, when you have 35% of men ain't getting no bonds,
yeah,
he's going to take sex from a woman any way she gives him. She says, wear a condom, he's going to put one on. She says, take that off, he's going to take it off. And depending on the age, it's very few men who can turn down trim. I mean, it's a historical fact. And you don't have to be, you could be rich, you could be poor, you could be in the Bible, you could be in literature, you could be the president of the goddamn United States. Men are stupid when it comes to the box. Always, and it's one of the things I say is we try to act like, because we have cognitive decisions that we can make with our brain, frontal lobe and all that shit. But no matter how much we try to deny it, both men and women, we are still subject to the laws of nature.
Right. And the thing about it is, our opinion, we're also intelligent too, right? So we understand that we have biological needs, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And I would think that sometimes, our brain would supersede the biological portion of us. You know what I mean? So it would behoove us to just go ahead and get married so you can do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Because we already know you're gonna be fighting an uphill battle. You know what I mean? Fighting your urges or whatever. And Mr. Bennett preached to that. Mr. Bennett said that's probably one of the main reasons why he got married. He wanted to.
That is the reason I got married.
Hey.
I'm not sugarcoating anything, man.
Well, if you
write
guys
it down.
remember, somebody
Mr. Bennett
from
said you
this
had to put no sugar
panel-
on that one.
Well, Lost, if you remember very well, somebody from this panel used to say a specific saying that you guys clipped. That's Chef Payne over here. You say, nobody could say no to a sizzling pussy on a platter. What was it, Payne?
I said it's the hardest thing a man has to do. It really is, and I think almost every man I know who's been sexually active knows the moment when he had an opportunity to get some trim, and he actually turned it down because he put the risk reward benefit in his head at the moment of making that mistake, and he says, "You know what? I'll pass." And he'll still remember that. I'm telling you. And then I think you elevate once you can do that. I think
and guys go back to the mess. Like I literally this week I listened to 2 podcasts. One was with Steven Jackson, former NBA player,
right?
And and Gary Owen on Club Shay Shay. And it's just amazing, just like the mistakes they kept running back to. Now Steven Jackson, everybody knows about the woman he left at the altar.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't sign the prenup. Now I knew about that, but what I didn't know that he shared in the podcast, canceled the day of the wedding, canceled, walked out, had a party, all that. Dude went back to her, had another baby with her, and it still didn't work out. Now he's married, to another woman now. But I'm just saying, after all that, after she put you through all of that, you cancel the wedding. You go back. Why have a baby? Another one, because she was pregnant when they were trying to get married the first time.
So, Mr. Bennett, what you say about that? Men are idiots when it comes.
Yeah, it's totally. Yeah.
In his defense, child support is cheaper than alimony.
Absolutely. Oh, no doubt about that. Yeah, I give him that. Yeah.
In other words, he duped her.
Yeah, he was wise not to marry. But then you got 2 for 1 because that you could have, just literally left everything at the altar and just got away with 1. You went back a double dipped and you got a second child at the thing that just had to pay child support for 2. The guys talked about he spent it was in the tens of millions of dollars in child support. He's got 7 kids.
Well, he still lost money, so
Yeah, well,
these guys are idiots, man. They're idiots, man. They're all idiots.
Yeah, I ain't finna leave out y'all super chats either. There was yelling at me in the chat. Put my super chat.
Earth, man. He said he got a super
man.
Chat.
His Scorched Earth says they tell them to live their lives, go to school, travel, because putting yourself in a marriage is a death sentence. They feel being married is equals a slave. I've heard that so many times. And we also have another $5 super chat from Romello. He said, Rick, guess what it is. He said, men cook and cleaning themselves nowadays. So I guess, it is what it is. And with that being said, I'm going to give y'all a little something class. I ain't going to put sausage biscuit back up there, man. I'm going to give y'all a little something quick. Matter of fact, hold on. I got something for you, man. It's Saturday. Sausage biscuit, where you at? Come on. I ain't going to do that. I was gonna be petty. But I'm not. Here we go. We got my boy.
Whatever you want, whatever you need, my heart belongs to you. Oh, whatever you need, there's nothing I won't do. Whatever you want, my heart belongs to you. I say gon' do whatever you want. My heart belongs to you.
I think that's probably the reason why grooming we got a lot of women doing whatever they want to do is because we got guys like that saying whatever you want.
I want to say something with that. It's something I can't process my mind to this day. All these guys, one relationships, one kids, but they don't want to officialize it with a marriage.
Right.
To me, that's official. It's not official till you say, I do it in an altar under the church by God, by a priest. That's how I was raised. Maybe I'm unique, maybe I'm weird, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe somebody can explain that to me. Like, even no offense to Trey, all due respect to him, he was saying he doesn't want to get married, but he wants the bells and whistles. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry.
I don't think a lot of men think the consequences through. You know what I'm saying? And picking the right woman, it's just easier to bow out to your urges, but we got to be more than our urges, man. You know what I'm saying? And think about it, Mr. Bennett. We train our bodies right to make sure that they're here for a long time to make sure we do what we have to do right.
Yep.
Why don't we train our minds to do the same thing?
Yeah, that's a higher level of of understanding. I mean, you can go to a gym. Guys spend 5 hours in the gym. They won't spend 10 minutes in a book.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's just the way to. But I do think we are living in a culture, and I think it's across the board, where I think a lot of people who simply look at parenthood as more noble than marriage.
Right.
I see women now, they look, I just want a kid. And you see some of these celebrity guys, they say, like, look, I want 10, 12 kids.
Right.
And then the guy will be like, well, how are you going to, you expect your wife to pull out 10, 12 kids? It's like, nah, well, she may only give me 2 or 3, so I got to go to another one. So it's like for some people, like the highlight of their human existence is parenting rather than marriage. And to me, that's always been putting the cart before the horse.
Right.
I think children, are a serendipity of marriage, but they're not the reason for marriage. I mean, that's just one of the things. But my thing is, if you're talking about trying to get to the end of life with someone, obviously you're going to be with them for a number of years before you have children. Right. And obviously those children are supposed to go off and leave and cleave with somebody else. So again, so what are you going to have at the back end? And what's that latter half of your life is looking like? I mean, God willing, I got another life here to be living.
Right.
And if I can't live it with the wife I have now, I mean, that would, that'd be terrible. But we're actually excited. We're talking about the places that we want to go because we sacrificed for 20 plus years. We put in a sacrifice to make sure that we put our daughters in the best position for them to win.
Right.
And now we're starting to see, okay, now we see it's us time again. And so, we want that latter half to be even better than the first half. And that's one of the reasons why we do train and exercise and whatnot. Because I don't want to be going to Hawaii in the what's that, the cart that they give the people who can't walk, the scooter thing. I don't want to be in a scooter. I still want to go on the trails, the hikes. I still want to, parasail. I still want to do all the stuff that is that's available. So I'm trying to stay as healthy as I can for as long as I can.
But Paul, this is an answer to my question. A lot of men want all the bells and whistles like you have, but without saying I do in an altar. I don't understand that. Why are if we're going to put all that work, why not go through the whole process then? No. Get a wife. They say you have a wife, but it's not official. Why? Because you can walk away and get another one? I don't understand that personally.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's called fear. And the only way fear can exist if there's a lack of knowledge and wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Think about it, man. You don't fear getting on a bicycle anymore once you fell off. You're grown now. You know how to use a bike, right?
Yeah.
That don't even scare you. Don't bother you. You already know how to fall. You already know how to get back up, right? Yeah. It's just something you don't have to think about. I think what happens is when we get in these spaces, I think people listen to each other's stories and they automatically, especially some women, they automatically assume somebody else's grief. You know what I mean? Somebody else's trauma as their own when they never even really fell down. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Well, I heard so-and-so say that I shouldn't get married, blah, 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 blah. But have you ever been married before? Why are you worried about something that you hadn't done yet? Yes, you're supposed to prepare yourself, but at the end of the day, have you armed yourself with the correct knowledge? You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't have a fear because you would already know how to pick the correct person, right? And I think what happens is fear teaches people, hey, I better do this now, or else, this might happen. And they usually overlook a lot of red flags. Go ahead, Mr. Arpain.
Yeah, a lot of things is that, we talk in these spaces about the way we want things to be as opposed to the way they actually are. It's clear now that there's something in between the bullshit relationships that people are going through that cause a lot of trauma and marriage. There's another thing in between them, right? Because there are people who do cleave to each other, but they just don't want to say the vows. And so that doesn't mean they're not committed to each other. But one of the things they don't realize is that if you want to be committed to a woman or a man, whether you call it partnership or whatever, you still have to sign some kind of paperwork if you're really serious, because especially if you're going to have kids, share business, share real estate, and share assets, right? You got to have some kind of paperwork. But some people just don't want to go in front of the state and sign that marriage certificate, which actually has prenuptial agreements in it and postnuptial agreements in it. Once you sign with the state, that is your baseline nuptial agreement by law. And then what's really people have a real problem is going before God and taking the vows. Because right now, for a lot of people, the vows don't mean shit. So they might as well not even go into the church. If I was a pastor and somebody wanted to get married in my church, but they had a list of what they wanted to say as vows, I'm going to tell you can't get married in my church because I'm not letting you say that bullshit. I already have vows written for you. And so the fact is that we're in between that kind of thing. And, there's so many, I'm going to be real quick, but there's so many things to it, levels to this. Women who have children out of wedlock, when they hit 40 years old, they actually might think they're okay because they satisfied their biological urge. When a woman is 40 with no kids, even if as arrogant as she might want to be, she knows she fucked up. And so that's why a lot of women, I think, are having kids, whether they're married or not, because they no matter who they burden, the state, the mothers, the grandmothers, they punch a ticket. Because we have women today having kids just to punch the goddamn ticket. And then, whatever the hardship is, because they have in some families, it's not a death sentence, it's just arrested development. Because in my own family, all the women who had kids out of wedlock, they got college degrees now. Their kids are doing okay because the baby boomers, which everybody hates, and the older Gen Xers took those fucking kids in. And so I'm just saying, so I think we have this new dynamic, which is brought on by the environmental laws and all that kind of stuff that has us in a tizzy.
Well,
marriage is not that appealing because of all the horror stories all over the place.
Yeah.
So
I think you can't have too many things that are.
Go ahead, Ms. Bennett.
You can't have too many things that are off, because again, you have cultures where marriage isn't necessarily like I said, Latinos. I don't see a lot of them getting married. Again, a lot of the single motherhood stuff is there with them. In fact, I think they have children younger than Black people do.
Yeah, they do.
But they have that community structure, like you just said, Arpain. Like what happened with the boomers and the Gen Xers gave, that's in the culture still. And so you got to have at least that if you want any of this stuff, the kids outside of marriage to really work and have a positive result. And there has to be a community. If it's not the marriage where you build a community for marriage, or you have a community that's going to support you, it's not going to work. And I think with us, we see there's so many holes that it makes trying to mimic that much more difficult.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Go ahead, Grumman. You wanted to slide in?
Yeah. Well, you said before, Payne, about people keep shit about boomers and Xers. No, I'm actually jealous for you guys. I'll tell you why. Because you guys had it pretty easy versus what we have now with these dating sites, and you're literally one mouse away. We're getting replaced. You're one click away getting replaced. Back then, you wanted to meet somebody. You bumped into the grocery store. Hey, what's going on? I'm sorry, but whatever the case is, you got their number. You got to know them. But now with all this texting technology, you wonder if she cheated on you half the goddamn times. You're worried about more of that than anything. And you wanted to get married. You wanted kids. You wanted a fucking house. You wanted the dog. You wanted the cat. You even wanted the goddamn mother-in-law downstairs bugging the crap out of you. You wanted all of that. That was normal. Now, you'd be lucky you get what, like, unique. I'm unique. I'm a species. They called me the other day. A weird species. I looked at them like, a species? I was trying to check them. I'm not a goddamn fucking dinosaur. Like, I might be a Greek fossil, but I'm not a dinosaur. But they said that to me because I am one of the few men in my age group who wants to get married and have kids in one house, not to have 5 different women with 5 different kids and pay on child support. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm the Greek, unique, crazy son of a fucking bitch. If I am, please somebody kick me in the balls and wake me up, please.
Let me tell you something. It goes back to what we said earlier. Arpain, the reason why a lot of people don't want to sign the paperwork is because deep down inside they know they ain't supposed to be doing it anyway, and it's just easier for them to overlook that part and just say, hey, look, we just gonna do it. You know what I mean? Even though they know. And the killing part about it is after they have the experience and it's bad, then they want to point the fingers. You know doggone well in the beginning it wasn't right. That's the main reason why you didn't marry him. That's the main reason why you didn't get paperwork, because deep down inside, you both knew that it was not going to work out, but you just did it out of convenience, and you want the whole world to feel sorry for you. And that's exactly what it is. And the killing part about it is most women will coddle each other and say it'll be okay. And most guys will be like, you know, she was crazy. You know, just blame the other person. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you knew doggone well when you had sex and you lay down on, that was not your spouse. You see what I'm saying? We got to call a spade, man. That's exactly what it is. And the thing about it is people don't support single motherhood the same way they support marriages. You see what I'm saying? Think about it. When you go to a marriage, when the pastor sits around, he said, does there anybody who see just fit why these two people shouldn't be married? Nobody says anything. That means the community agrees that they're going to make sure that they do everything to keep this marriage together. The community is now a part of your marriage. They want to make sure that, hey, we see in the street, don't be cheating on your wife, or don't be cheating on your husband or whatever. Keep everything above board. You know, if we see your kids need help or whatever, we'll help them. But the sad reality is we have women who will come in and step in and babysit kids and all this other stuff, you know, and they'll come in and they'll help them out and encourage them to do the bad thing over and over and over again. And it self-perpetuates. We've seen this since I can remember as early as the 80s. You see what I'm saying? It probably happened way before then too. But it just seems like it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Go ahead, Mr. Bennett. You wanted to give a little pushback?
Yeah, I as far as speak now, forever hold your peace. I used to think that. I don't think that anymore. I just don't. You just don't want to get the one that gets cussed out or get into the fight or the whatever. Right. It's just like everybody else. Don't want to. Someone getting mugged on the street, someone getting robbed. Nobody wants to say anything. No one wants to participate.
You're not gonna.
So you just don't, because a lot of times we know.
Yeah,
we know. Like say, going back to that story with Steven Jackson, his mama knew, his grandmother knew. She ain't the one. Like, stop. You know, she's not going to sign that prenup that you want. The day of the wedding, she's not going to. They already. In fact, he said his grandma said to his mother, didn't tell him months earlier, they're not getting married. This is not going to last. But I don't think who has the courage to actually step up and says, I don't think you guys need to be getting married. You would be ostracized, if anything, just for the fact that you break up the ceremony. The ceremony has become as important as the wedding itself. Like we say, people can get married for $100 if they want to. But because of the pageantry, what you pay for the dress and the catering and all the things that are involved there, no one wants to have that on their conscience, even if they know it's the wrong decision. It's just easier for them to just let them go ahead with it. So I'm not sure that, you know, that virtue of making sure they stay on board and, you know, community supports and make sure you guys stay on track, I don't think that's where it's at.
Well, guess what, Mr. Bennett? All those bridal places where you buy wedding dresses and tuxedo shops, that business is dead. You got to look hard, far and wide to get, especially tuxedo where you used to go rent them and all that kind of stuff. It ain't that easy no more because that business is all dead, especially wedding dresses and stuff. I mean, it's not completely dead. I mean, you could find some, and that's why the prices are so high. Because
see, the thing is too, a lot of these folks want custom now.
The only reason why those places are still open now is because of prom. And that's it.
Yeah, I think they switched the model.
Prom.
Yeah.
Because
like I said, but even now, a lot of these they want the custom. They don't want the generic off the shelf. They want a designer, and they want to spend $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 on a wedding dress, rather than just getting one off the rack and doing a few alterations to it. So I think that's kind of driving it also.
I got another issue along this same theme, because words have meaning. I think we all agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen closely, women who want relationships don't want husbands, they want partners. Men are still talking about wives. And the truth of the matter is, there's a big disconnect between what a wife is and a partner.
They ain't ready for that conversation.
So we might have it on Monday, but all I'm just trying to say, it's a big difference. Now we keep glossing over that,
right?
Because it sounds like, let me put it to you this way: being a wife or a partner, they're not synonyms.
Okay, but
that's not a synonym,
right? But you do offer grace for the partner, like you said earlier, whether like people, you want that middle ground, or you're proposing that middle ground.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. If I'm vetting a woman, right? Let me tell you, listen, Mr. Bennett, you're married just like I am. How would you feel if your wife introduced you to somebody in her business or whatever? Here's my partner, Mr. Bennett.
Where's the LLC?
I said
that's
Bennett and Bennett. I don't know what the
If the shit don't start with an H, like,
but I don't. That's the thing. I don't want to be introduced as her man, her boo, her everything, her. No. I don't need all those fancy acronyms. I don't need all those cutesy phrases. This is my husband. That's the only title that I care about. People have the long. She's the honey in my tea, and she's the wife.
That's it.
That's it.
My wife calls me a husband. Man. When she calls out to me, she just says husband.
That's it.
That's it. She'll say nothing. It's so funny. Yeah. It has so much meaning. And the modern woman, and unfortunately, a lot of the simp men now who've been, womanized, they're starting to use the term too. And what I'm saying, once a man starts using that term, I would say don't get married. Just set up I had a thing on BMU's network. Just come up with a partnership agreement on how you're going to live together, share resources, maybe kids and all that, but don't go in front of God and say some shit you don't mean. I'm serious. Just don't do it. I mean, stop it.
You know what? I'm going to double back on something that Mr. Bennett said. Mr. Bennett said that, most people don't want to get involved when it comes to the community, helping people to stay together. Let me tell you, I think you're right. I'm going to give you an example. I got a female friend who's mad at me right now because let me tell you what happened. She got her new little boyfriend now, you know what I'm saying? And she wouldn't tell me what he looked like or whatever. So she finally showed me a picture of him. So they had him leaning up against a little Corvette with some little ripped jeans or whatever. And I said, this ain't gonna work. I said, why you wanna be with this dude? She told me, he got money.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? He can dress, that's the style. I said, let me tell you something. I said, this ain't gonna work. I'm gonna tell you, it ain't got nothing to do with him. It's got to do with you. I said, your picker is broke. And I'm gonna tell you why. I done sat through the last 3 boyfriends that you had, and I watched you make the same exact mistake on all 3 of them.
Right.
That's the reason why you're gonna fail in this particular situation, is because you never said what you wanted to do for them. Your whole mindset was what they could do for you. I said a relationship is never going to be one-sided like that. You're supposed to do something. You know what I mean? And what you're providing, another woman can. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It ain't all about you. Yeah, I know he brought you flowers. Yeah, I know he took you and picked you up and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, in the conversation, you never said what you was going to do for him. I said, that's how I know it's not going to last. And I said, look, I'm busy. I got to go back to work. Next thing you know, I put on pause. I lock the chat out or whatever. Don't chat me. I don't want to hear it because I already know what the deal is. You know what I'm saying? So she mad at me or whatever. And I'm telling her the right thing. I'm like, no, that's not going to work. I say, your mind is not correct. And I told her a long time ago, I said, you're going to have to get therapy because A, you have abandonment issues. You see what I'm saying? B, you'll let anybody in because you're afraid to be alone. And C, you don't want to be by yourself. I said, that is a bad concoction for you to pick men from. Yes, anytime some guy does something that's real nice to you or whatever, I assure you, he's going to go along with the get along until he gets what he gets. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to be like the last two dudes. You're going to be like, I can't believe you love me.
Yeah.
That's because you gave him cake too soon. You know, he just went along.
Oh, and it's like,
do you think this guy that you think is fine is by himself? You don't think other women are going to find him attractive as well? And I asked her one question. I said, if you had a child by this dude today, would you be proud to have him as a father of your kids? Would you dress your child up in some ripped jeans and lean him up against the Corvette and have somebody else take pictures of him? And you know what? She didn't say nothing. She said, that's just a style. I said, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, would you be proud to have this man as the father of your kids? And she couldn't answer. I said, that's the reason why I got to go. You're not thinking.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Bennett.
No, but it's like buying.
I'm hard on
right?
I'm hard on my friends because I'm hard on
I
myself.
got you. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm learning to be harder. I guess I care less about it. But no, but it's also like that buyer, right? Like let's say if you bought a Honda,
right?
And you come by with the Honda, and a lot of you guys can clown you because oh man, you should have bought Toyota. You should Because we all car buffs and we got the stats and everything. Nah, but this one's better. But again, the fact that you bought the Honda, you're going to defend your purchase. You're going to defend your Honda.
Right.
Even if we can lay down all the facts of why I was wrong, you should check with us before you bought the Honda. You're going to be a defender of your purchase, whatever that is. That's just human nature. Also, you defend what you. So again, especially you with somebody, especially if you get pregnant by him or if you marry him, no one can tell you nothing. So what happens materially, but it definitely happens in our in our relationships. You're gonna fight to the end. Now, some of that stuff might be coming for wrong reasons. Now, again, my oldest, she had to deal with that. Her boyfriend now, her girlfriends got upset, but they were upset because he disrupted the sisterhood. Because they were doing, the traveling together, going to DR and going all that stuff. Now you introduce a man into the picture that now they had all kinds of smoke for her to say.
Oh yeah.
At that point. So I knew that was coming from a bad place. But yeah. But you're gonna stand on, you make those kind of emotional investments or purchases.
Right.
You put your emotions in it. No one can tell you nothing after that.
Right. You already bought it now. You're gonna defend it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna be
I love this question right there. He said, "How are you having women as friends, bro?" Let me let you in a little secret, bro. I'm fixing y'all future problems. I'm gonna let you send me the cash app. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna distill this liquor and y'all go come pick it up. You know what I'm saying? Here's my thing. You can't live yourself in a bubble and just say, I'm only going to be friends with men. And I hate that guys can do that. But my thing is this, you got to be able to learn from both sides. That's probably the reason why I'm able to understand women a whole lot better than most guys. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't feel women. Hell, I don't feel men. You know what I'm saying? My thing is this, I want people to make sure they go out and get in the world and move around. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. 9 times out of 10, I don't seek friends. People just gravitate to me. Yeah, so I'm not gonna tell them, hey, I'm not gonna be your friend because you have a kitty cat. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But at the end of the day, I'm the one who makes that choice. I have female friends that say, hey, look, I find you interesting or whatever. I want to get to know you. But I'm like, no, but I just want to be friends. And they make that decision and say, hey, I don't want to do that because I feel a certain way. Well, here's the door. Here you go. If you can't handle it, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times women like to say men can't handle being friends. I think it's the other way around. I think most times most women are the ones who can't be friends. You see what I'm saying? Especially if the guy's not interested in them. But my thing is, at the end of the day, it also helps you to understand exactly the opposite sex. So when you do get into a relationship, it makes you a whole lot easier to deal with. So I see where you're coming from. It builds your experience. It builds up your knowledge. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing, your vocabulary, all of that. It builds it up, man. Your relationship vocabulary. That's what that is. So don't be afraid to be friends with the opposite sex, gentlemen, contrary to what people tell you on these spaces. Don't fall for that trick. Go ahead.
The only pushback I would give you is this. I agree with you 100%. You know, if you're single and you have a lot of, you know, ladies in your orbit and you're just, you know, having conversation, you're not really trying to sleep with them all. But I think the dynamics between women and men are different, right?
Absolutely.
You know, so, and we know that there's different. So if you're a woman who, she could be sincere, but if she has nothing but men in her orbit, whether you believe her or not, whether she's going to cheat on you or not, you know at least 80% of them will bang her ass out if she slips up.
Of course.
So the issue really is how the nature of her relationship with all those men are. If she tells me every so often Garfield's going to call me over, I'm going to have gourmet dinner with him at his house, I'm not going to put up with that shit, even if they don't have sex. I'm not going to be in agreement with that.
Right.
Or you know what I'm saying? I mean, so you know, so we got to make a choice, and so does the woman, right? Whereas I wouldn't tell her, listen, man, you know, Sally, you know, invited me over for dinner. I'm gonna go over to her house, even if we ain't having sex. I wouldn't put my woman in that kind of position, right? Because you know, because I'm not gonna let her do that shit to me. So I'm not saying you can't have no friends, but the nature of that relationship has to change. I didn't say don't talk to them. I don't say you can't, you know, see them from time to time in some public setting or whatever. But if you have intimate friendship with men and you want to maintain that, you just can't be in a relationship with me.
Right. So the thing is, I'm not interested in this person. That person's not interested in me. So that's mutual. So there's none of that foolishness going on.
Yeah, but when you're single, that means one thing. But if you're not single, even that, your word may be, I could trust you. But as for men, it's not that we don't trust our women. We just don't trust all the guys around her. You just don't want her to be in the environment where everybody wants to stick their dick in.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Because you don't know what you're dealing with.
You know, and women act like they don't understand that. And they very well do. They understand that big time. And that's when they gaslight men to act like it's all innocent and shit. I would rather women tell me.
We already know what the deal is.
They absolutely know why their man is that bullshit about you're insecure and all that. They know that it's not insecurity. She's just telling you she don't like you that much.
That's the one in the chamber.
She's just telling you, you know, I don't like you that much. So, you know, you ain't cutting me off because, you know, you mess up once, my man's sliding right in and he's gonna be knocking this shit out. And that's it. So
I'm glad you said the last part. I'm glad you said the last part. Another guy will slide in when you fuck up, because I used to always tell my exes, like, it's not I don't trust you. I don't trust other men. Oh, I got my ring. Oh, I got this. Like, you really think a man is gonna stop because he wear a ring? He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't sees ass and going for it. He's like a shark and it was meat.
Hey man, most sexual encounters happen because of proximity and opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't care what anybody says. You know, you put yourself in those environments where somebody could bang your ass out. All you got to do is have one too many drinks, or you're just loose and slippery.
I'll give you guys a very good example of my ex. So she's never been to a bar, quote unquote. Her, I don't believe her, but that's a whole different story. And she goes to me, I want to go to this bar with my coworkers. Like, okay, go on. I'm like, go. I'm not gonna stop you. And I looked over, like, wait a minute, you're not going here. Because why not? This is a biker bar. He goes, so? I go, do you know what happens at a biker bar? Oh, I'm not stupid. I'm smarter than you. I'm like,
okay.
Yeah, not that smart. When a biker bar guy points at you, he takes you. As simple as that, except you have property of patch on you. And you don't have neither. You're not going. We got in the biggest fucking fight over that. Because I was trying to protect her. Maybe I'm the stupid one, I guess. Guess not, really.
She didn't know where she was at. That's what.
She's a moron.
Well, there you go. So my whole thing is like Black American said, what single man are trying not to sleep with attractive women? He said, I'm outside all day, all night in Las Vegas and motorcycle club, just like you said, grooming. Men and women can't be friends. And he said, I'm 50. Well, guess what? I'm 51 too. And I'm also smart enough not to sleep with somebody who can't make good decisions. That's the difference. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who makes bad decisions, I don't want to have nothing to do with them. Period. They can't be my lady. Go ahead, Mr. Bennett.
No, I'm good. No, I'm let's go with Sonny.
Groomer, did you want to finish up before we get up out of here?
I'm good. I think I said enough.
Arpan, you on mute, sir.
Yeah, I am. Take it. Hey, listen, it was a good panel. Ricky, asked some good questions.
He did.
I think we kind of, got down to the bottom of it. Is that I think women need to work on what are they, for all the shit they want from men, they really need to work on what are they giving in return. Absolutely. And the women who understand that need to get a louder voice. They need to just be louder, in these circles. And everybody says that, the internet, social media is not real life, but it has depth. There's people with millions of followers hearing bullshit every goddamn day, and the ones who are talking the opposite, their following is not as big. And we need to have the louder voices start to prevail, even a critical mass of voices so we can start turning the tide. But, I just, some of it I just think is a little too late. And you know what? I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I mean, I feel for my daughters and everybody out in Gen Z, but they're going to have to figure it out for themselves. And that's what I'm saying. All right.
Absolutely. Well, tonight's show was What is a Woman's Job? I think we discussed it, gentlemen. I think we had us a good show. And if you guys hadn't already hit the like button, make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe. And then when you get an opportunity, make sure you let everybody know that you enjoyed yourself tonight and share the show. If you guys have any questions, so you always hit us up in the comments section. We're always here. If you got any show ideas after the night show, make sure you guys hit us up in the comment section and we'll come back and we'll revisit for you, answer any questions that you may have. With that being said, Mr. Bennett, thank you for coming out tonight. Grooming the Reviews, thank you for coming out. And our pain is always a pleasure, sir. Appreciate it. And thank y'all guys for coming out. God bless. Have a good night.
Enjoy your weekend. Take care. Yep.
Take care.